Hello, this is a guy who likes fanfiction and is too lazy to read, so here is Attack on Prime in audio form. Check the description for the links to the author. Chapter 16, Deceit. She what? Levi demanded. How did she escape? Optimus demanded. I don't fucking know. Hanji exclaimed as she sat up from the table. Oh man, she's going to find out about Berthold and hunt us down and dash. Ms. Zoe, please calm down, Optimus advised. We need to investigate her whereabouts. She could have left the wall by now, Levi retorted. But what if she hears about Walrose? Hanji retorted, rumors are already spreading about Megatron. God fucking damn it. We can't have people freaking out about Buckethead, Levi declared. What about the commander? Optimus asked. He is supposed to be traveling to the capital. Yeah, he has to go to the capital about some stuff regarding the council. He'll stop by the prison along the way, Hanji explained. We had her on total lockdown. She couldn't transform. How the fuck did she get out? An idea suddenly sprang in her head. She remembered Megatron being able to communicate with Optimus by tapping his head, and he could do it from a certain distance. Maybe one of them could go over there and send instant feedback. Optimus, I have an idea, Hanji began. Let's send Megatron. Mobilet yelped as he dropped some supplies he was carrying. You've officially lost it, Levi declared. That is out of the question, Optimus stated. I am not sending Megatron into a highly populated area. Megatron can fly and stay above the town. No one will notice if he keeps his distance, Hanji retorted. Megatron's form already stands out on this world, and this world has not invented the concept of flight, Optimus countered. You stick out too. Hanji shouted, I haven't seen a caravan other than you that's red and blue. Megatron does not possess a hollow form. We don't even know if that's true. Megatron despises humanity, Optimus reminded. Do you really believe he would install a program that would allow him to walk amongst them? Just ask the bastard about it, Levi cut in. If he doesn't have one, then we can wait until Erwin sends us something. Optimus sighed. Fine. I'll come with you, Hanji suggested. You will stay here, Optimus ordered, deactivating the hollow form. Hanji groaned. I have to do research. Shut up, shit glasses, Levi said. Optimus transformed into his bipedal mode and saw Megatron stretching his legs. I see you've managed to stop that screeching, Megatron remarked. One of the humans was having a panic attack, Optimus explained. There's been a problem with one of our prisoners. I thought there was only one prisoner, Megatron recalled as he stopped stretching and looked at the Prime. There was another Titan shifter we found a week ago, Optimus explained as he opened his crate and took out 2 pieces of energon. She managed to escape from her cell. Megatron sighed as Optimus threw the piece and he caught it. How many more of these Titan shifters are there? So far there are 6, Optimus answered, but the Titan village that 3 of them hail from may contain more. We need that location. What's the point of having the location if there is no map to lead you there? Megatron asked. We will get to that point when we retrieve the information required, Optimus answered. The commander is going to her cell to investigate how she escaped. And why are you telling me this? Megatron demanded while biting the energon. One of the humans suggested that you help the commander, Optimus explained. It is in a rather populated area and I doubt you have a hollow form dash. I do, actually, Megatron stated after he swallowed. Optimus looked at his former enemy in bewilderment while Megatron rolled his optics. Soundwave suggested it, and I never bothered to remove it from my systems. Optimus didn't want to do this, but they needed answers fast. One of the humans wished to speak with you regarding the meeting. Okay, so we have all the supplies and the 3 pistols we managed to make before going to Cena, Hanji declared while looking at the table of tools. Hopefully we can make some more. Prime was the one who tested them out so you wouldn't hurt yourself. That might not happen this time around, Levi reminded. We'll manage it, Hanji declared while putting gloves on. Hopefully Optimus and Megatron can put aside their differences and not try to kill each other. I doubt that, Levi proclaimed. I know, Hanji groaned. We can't use Armin anymore either if Megatron is going to be here. Can't risk putting him in danger. Like Prime's going to let you do research on Buckethead, Levi retorted. He's keeping everyone away. Why do you keep calling Megatron Buckethead? Hanji asked. His head looks like a bucket with those weird cat ears, Levi answered. I don't think those are his ears, Hanji remarked. I brought Megatron, Optimus informed as he walked towards the two with Megatron's hollow form in tow. Levi's body stiffened, hand sneaking towards the gun on the table. One of them had to be loaded, he knew that. Hanji, however, was ecstatic to meet the ex-con. Her grin looked like it was going to split her face. She was about to run to him and bombard him with questions, but Levi yanked her back by her neck collar. Levi, Hanji quietly whined. All right, I'm here. What is it that you want? Megatron demanded with his arms crossed. Our commander is going to the capital tomorrow, Hanji explained. After he talks to our government, he's going to go to Annie's underground cell. We need you to meet up with him and figure out how Annie escaped. Yet I have no knowledge of where to meet up with this human, Megatron retorted. Hold on, I think Mobilot has a drawing, Hanji stated before going to the table and through Mobilot's sketchbook. Megatron glanced at Levi and noticed his hands behind his back. Levi merely gave an unreadable expression as his finger went for the trigger. Found it! Hanji exclaimed as she showed the drawing to Megatron, has a lot of windows. Also the capital is just north of one of Shtohes district. If you see a city surrounding by a smaller wall, then you're already on the right track. I'm aware of what those are, Megatron declared. Oh, good, Hanji smiled, and the person you'll meet is Commander Erwin, pretty tall, blonde, bushy eyebrows, can't miss. And you want me to communicate with Optimus about the situation, Megatron concluded. Well, that's what you did with the whole Walrose incident, Hanji assumed, or at least that's what I saw, but I have no idea if it works long distance dash. It does, Megatron stated. So will you do it? Hanji asked. Megatron glanced back at Optimus before sighing. Fine. Really? Hanji squealed. I have nothing else to do, Megatron shrugged. Levi turned his gaze towards Optimus, trying to find out Optimus was sure about the situation, but even Optimus was startled by Megatron's answer. Why was Megatron agreeing to help the humans? So, can I ask you a couple of questions? Hanji asked as she grabbed her notebook from the table. And we're done, Levi declared before grabbing Hanji by her collar and dragging her. Wait, wait, wait. Hanji yelled. Megatron heard a faint noise and glanced to see an arrow heading straight for him. The ex-con caught the arrow that nearly hit his eye. Hanji gaped in surprise while Levi and Optimus mentally cursed. Not a bad shot, Megatron mumbled to himself as he broke the arrow and dropped it on the ground. Levi dropped Hanji and put the gun on the table before walking towards the cabin. Did that hurt? Hanji asked. No, Megatron stated as he leaned against a tree. Sasha slammed the front door and panted heavily. I'm so dead. What happened? Armin asked. I may have shot an arrow at the flying titan, Sasha whimpered. What? Armin exclaimed. Sasha yelped and fell forward from a force that kicked the door. Where the fuck is Potato Girl? Levi demanded. Aaron looked through the window, grimacing at the sight of Megatron's hollow form. So the bastard did have a human form. He then heard groaning and turned to see Armin dragging an unconscious Sasha to the couch. What happened to Sasha? Aaron asked with concern. Levi knocked her out because she shot an arrow at Megatron, Armin answered, help me. Aaron helped Armin lift Sasha up to the couch. Thanks, Armin said. Armin, Aaron began, why didn't you say anything about Megatron? Armin sighed. Optimus didn't want anyone knowing. He still wasn't sure if he could trust the rest of the Corps with something that personal. They used to be friends, so there's some emotional baggage. He's the one who made Optimus suffer. Aaron retorted. That may be true, but we don't know their entire story, Armin countered. For all we know, there could have been some bizarre factor. Fuck that bizarre factor. Aaron shouted, Megatron's no different than Berthold and Reiner. He's worse. He destroyed a world and is probably lying about the stupid Unicron thing. Even if Megatron is lying, what difference would it make? Armin demanded. Megatron defeated Reiner and Berthold in combat. What's the point of getting angry if you don't have the power to defeat him? Eren stared at Armin before scowling. That hurt, but he was right. Even with his power, Eren was nothing compared to the two leaders. He never was. Can I touch the hollow form? Hanji asked. Touch me and see what happens, Megatron warned. Bitcha much? Hanji questioned, causing Megatron to growl. Hanji, I need to speak with you, Optimus said as he pulled her away from Megatron. Megatron looked at the table and saw Hanji's notebook lying there. He picked it up and began flipping through the pages of information. Some were about Optimus, some were ideas in advancing weapons, and some were about Optimus Prime's pet. Megatron came across the page with the mystery figure and realized that Hanji had some information regarding him. Megatron was aware that only 2 people knew about him. Why does the scientist have this? You cannot anger him under any circumstances, Optimus ordered. It's not my fault he has issues, Hanji retorted. Optimus took a deep breath and sighed. I understand that, however, Megatron will not take it lightly, especially with humans. Just because he stopped the war himself does not mean all of his opinions have changed. That includes how he sees humans. If you do want to know more about him, then try not to anger him, and I will maybe consider it. Hanji smiled. Really? Don't get your hopes up, shitface, Levi said as he walked up to them. By the way, where's Buckethead? Optimus merely pointed to Megatron, who was still at the table. Is he reading my notebook? Hanji demanded before running towards the table. Let it go, Levi said as Optimus was about to grab her. She's not going to stop, so she might as well learn on her own. It will not be long before she might actually get killed, Optimus proclaimed. We do have to find a way to see if we can trust him, right? Levi reminded. Let's see if he can put up with Hanji. Optimus looked back at Hanji and Megatron. Hanji was gesturing to something written down while Megatron simply raised an eyebrow. Prime, there's something I have to tell you, Levi began. 4 Eyes won't do it, so I have to. What is it about? Optimus asked. It's about the Titans, Levi explained. They used to be, human. I know, Optimus declared. Levi looked up at the Prime. How long? The Beast Titan told me, Optimus explained. I ended up losing what little control I had over my emotions and snapped. How are you coping now? Levi asked. Do you think you can still kill a Titan when it comes down to it? I have no choice, Optimus sighed. The next day, Megatron was in his bipedal mode watching the sun rise before turning to the Prime walking towards him. I have to head north, right? Megatron recalled. Yes, Optimus answered, make sure to stay out of sight of the humans, and when you arrive, I want the COMM link on at all times. You know having the COMM link on for that long takes some energy, Megatron reminded. Then inform me of any important information that you find regardless, Ms. Leonhardt, Optimus instructed, and if you harm anyone dash. I won't, Megatron interrupted, I gave up on conquest. I have no interest in harming anyone. You have my word. Optimus stared Megatron in the optics. It was hard to believe that, but he had to make sure that Megatron was an ally. Report back immediately once you gather the information, Optimus instructed. Megatron simply nodded his head before transforming and flying off. Optimus watched his form disappear from his sight before walking back to the cabin. Eren ran out of the cabin after he heard a strange but familiar noise. He walked backwards and saw Megatron's alt mode flying north of the cabin. Eren gritted his teeth and looked behind him to see Optimus walking towards the cabin. Optimus, why are you letting him go? Eren demanded as he crooned his head towards the Titan. I am not, Optimus answered. Ms. Zoe suggested that he meet with Commander Smith and investigate Leonhardt's whereabouts. Why didn't you tell me about him? Eren demanded. Why didn't you tell me that Megatron was still alive? I was not sure if he left Cybertron, and I was not sure if I would cross paths with him again, Optimus explained. It did not affect anyone here, so I believed it would be better not to say anything to anyone. But, Eren sighed. Eren, I am sorry about this, Optimus apologized. I did not want all of this madness to happen. You still could have told us, Eren said before mumbling, could have told me. Optimus sighed. I understand that you're hurt, but there is nothing I can do to change what has happened. Berthold winced and panted in pain as he curled in on himself and held his hand. It was getting worse, it was getting fucking worse. Berthold was about to call out for help. Call for someone to stop the pain, but stopped himself and merely panted. No one would help him. No one would give a damn about him after what he did. Erwin sighed to himself as he walked down the courtroom. The council, they were all lying in front of his face. They were all thinking about their own greed. They were willing to kill anyone that got in the way of their power. Erwin saw the carriage waiting for him at the bottom of the stairs. Now he had to go investigate how Annie escaped. Are you the commander of the Survey Corps? A stern voice asked as he reached the bottom of the steps. Erwin turned around to see a man in a gray trench coat with multiple scars on his face leaning against the brick wall. I am, Erwin answered. Who are you? I doubt you would be trying to rob me if you're coming up to me like this. I have nothing to gain from you, the man answered. I was sent here by Optimus and the med scientist to investigate the whereabouts of the other creature. Mainly the med scientist. Mad scientist? Erwin questioned. I still don't have high expectations for you humans, so don't expect me to call you by your real name, the man said. You're Megatron? Erwin asked, disbelief laced in his voice. There we go, about time you caught on, Megatron smirked. Erwin tried to keep himself composed. He was so fucked. Aaron sat at the bottom of the cliff with his arms crossed as the rest of the Survey Corps were on higher ground. Hanji wanted to conduct some experiments and Optimus had to go grab something. Hey, Aaron. Hanji called from above, you wanna transform until Optimus gets back? Let's try to get a head start on the experiment. Aaron nodded his head before biting his hand. Optimus returned to the field with Megatron's sword when he saw Aaron's Titan form appear from thin air. The Titan shifter stood up straight and looked at the Prime before glancing down at Megatron's sword. Hey, Optimus, where have you been hiding that? Hanji asked. I buried it, Optimus responded. Oh, Hanji said. Aaron, Optimus began, the gaze of the teen falling back on him. The Prime threw the sword to Aaron and he caught it. There is a switch on the sword, Optimus explained. The hilt will transform into a full-length sword if you flick the switch. Aaron examined the hilt in his hand before pressing the switch. Aaron jolted as the hilt transformed into a sword. Aaron used his other hand to balance the weight of the blade. It was a little lighter than he expected, but he still wasn't used to holding it. So was that Megatron's main weapon during the war? Hanji asked. Megatron used to have a built-in sword and a fusion cannon on his right arm, Optimus explained. When his body was changed, he lost it and gained the ability to summon weapons. Summon weapons? Hanji questioned. If he can do that, then why is he using a basic sword and shield? Megatron most likely lost that ability when Unicron was removed from his spark, Optimus explained. Either that, or Megatron refuses to use anything related to Unicron, Optimus thought. Erwin remained as calm as possible, tapping his fingers on his knee. Usually he's much more composed, but he wasn't even sure about how to react. The commander was on his way to Annie's prison cell, and Hanji thought it would be a bright idea to send the Decepticon leader with him. But Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons, rival and sworn enemy to Optimus Prime, the warlord responsible for destroying worlds, the one who defeated their world's greatest threats, was sleeping. Megatron was sitting across from Erwin, legs crossed, chin resting on his hand and eyes closed. Was Megatron letting his guard down? Was Megatron really that arrogant to not see Erwin as a threat? Could he actually sleep in that form? Erwin was definitely going to cut Hanji's funding when he got the chance. Erwin held onto his shoulder. This Titan could kill him, despite what form he had. Erwin lacked skill, 3D gear, and an arm. Megatron could probably stage his death and make it look like a suicide. How long do you plan to stare at me? Megatron spoke with his eyes still closed. Erwin's body stiffened, hand moving back down to his side. If you're going to ask me questions, then do it, Megatron ordered. I'm sure that you're curious about me. Depending if Optimus told you anything, or if the med scientist showed you information about me from her book. He knows about her notebook? How? Erwin thought before speaking. I wasn't expecting you to have a human form. My former third-in-command suggested it, Megatron informed. I never bothered to delete from my systems. Then where is your real form? Erwin asked. Megatron merely pointed upwards. His form is flying above the city. Erwin thought, how has no one noticed yet? Would you mind telling me about your prisoner? Megatron asked as he opened his eyes. I was told to simply meet you here, but I wasn't told much about the prisoner's condition. She's been kept underground to prevent another transformation, Erwin explained. She's been chained to the wall. Her hands and feet were bandaged to prevent other injuries on her skin, and there is a muzzle on her mouth to prevent herself from biting her hand. Hand? Megatron raised an eyebrow. Optimus shot Annie Leonhardt in her Titan form, but we weren't counting on the effects of her human form, Erwin explained. We never bothered to test it out and she lost her arm. A chill went up Erwin's spine as Megatron just stared at him before closing his eyes again. Erwin didn't understand. Why was he taking the situation so lightly? Erwin felt the caravan stop and looked outside his window to see they were in front of the entrance to the underground prison. Erwin's breath hitched as Megatron opened the door and stepped out of the caravan. The ex-tyrant looked back at Erwin with a rather bored expression. This is the location, right? Why did you go in front? Erwin asked as he stepped out. Megatron smirked. I doubt you would want me behind you, considering the fact you have less of a chance to survive in hand-to-hand combat. Erwin remained silent while Megatron walked forward. He gripped his shoulder and grimaced. He prayed to whatever god was out there that he would live. Optimus grunted as he tried to force Aaron's Titan form down as the soldiers near him ran back. This was the third time that Aaron lost control and he was getting more and more erratic. Optimus, try and calm him down. Hanji yelled as she covered her ears from Aaron screaming his head off. It is not that easy. Optimus shouted as he loosened his grip on Aaron. The Titan shifter almost broke free from Optimus, but the Prime grabbed Megatron's sword and forced it through Aaron's chest, stabbing the ground. Optimus panted and got off of Aaron as he continued to struggle from his predicament. He's not even thinking about pulling the sword out, Hanji remarked. Optimus sighed with relief as Aaron pulled himself from his Titan form. If this kept up, Aaron might end up fatally wounded. So tell me, if this creature is such a high priority to keep on lockdown, then why is there no one here? Megatron demanded. We had to use as many military forces as possible when the Titans were in Walrose, Erwin answered. If it were any other incident, it would most likely be the military police not doing their job. Typical of you humans, Megatron mumbled, but not low enough for Erwin to miss. What the commander didn't understand was Megatron's dislike for the human race. Was it because Optimus protected them on the world where humanity was free? Did he hate humans out of spite? Anger? Sick grins. Did Megatron see them as easier to conquer? What have you been doing after the war ended? Erwin asked. Traveling, Megatron answered. I didn't feel the need to stay on Cybertron anymore. Did you not want to be a part of the rebuilding of your home? Erwin asked. I don't think I'd be wanted there since I'm the one responsible for killing Cybertron, Megatron retorted. So you decided to run away from your issues, Erwin assumed without realizing what he was saying. The commander closed his mouth as Megatron stopped in his tracks and glared at him. I suggest you watch what you're saying. Unless you know both sides of the situation, then you shouldn't be saying anything, Megatron said. Erwin watched as Megatron walked forward before internally cursing. What the hell was wrong with him? He knew nothing of Megatron's personality. How was he supposed to know what makes him tick? Erwin continued to follow the ex-tyrant and noticed some empty cells with blood stains on the cell bars. What the hell? Erwin thought. I thought there was only one prisoner down here, Megatron recalled. There were other notorious criminals in the city, Erwin said. I don't understand why they aren't here. Hey, who are you? A military police called out as he aimed his rifle at Megatron. He's with me, Erwin stated as he stepped in front of Megatron. He's an acquaintance. Commander Erwin, the man said, about time you showed up, not that it would do you any good. We need you to take us to Annie Leonhardt's holding cell, Erwin instructed. I know, follow me, the soldier said. The three continued walking as Megatron noticed the other cell unoccupied with blood stains. Mind explaining why some of these cells have blood? Megatron asked, did someone die here? Your prisoner decided that it would be a sick idea to kill our other prisoners, and the two guarding her, the soldier stated, should have kept a better leash on her. Erwin simply remained quiet and looked back to see if Megatron was reacting to the soldier's rather rude behavior. He was able to take it. He was used to the abuse and disgrace that came with being the Survey Corps commander. He wasn't sure what Megatron would do. We're here, the soldier said as he gestured to Annie's cell. Erwin looked down to see the door to Annie's cell ripped open. The lock seemed to be broken and her chains were ripped from the wall. Both sides of the cell bars were stained with blood. When did you find the cell like this? Megatron asked. About 2 days, the soldier answered. 2 days, and you never bothered to go into further details regarding how she escaped? Megatron questioned, were you too busy sleeping on your ass? Hey! The soldier yelled, you should watch who you're talking to, scum. And maybe you should do your job, Megatron stated, amazing how you were given such an honor to serve a king. We should focus more on the task at hand, Erwin cut in. I'll be looking inside the cell then, Megatron stated as he opened the cell door. Hey! The soldier yelled. Megatron ignored him and kneeled down to examine Annie's chains. What the hell's wrong with him? The soldier demanded. I just met him, Erwin admitted, one of my subordinates sent him over to help me with this. Well, you better keep him on a leash, the soldier hissed. Megatron drowned out the discussion between Erwin and the other annoying human and picked up one of the chains. They weren't ripped from the wall, and it was unlocked, but the creature couldn't have because her hand was heavily bandaged to prevent movement and her mouth was bound to prevent any further damage. The ex-tyrant noticed drops of blood in the cell. He looked back at the cell bars to see that the blood didn't stain the wall or the floor in front. The direction of the blood stained inside the cell. Something wasn't right. Megatron knew that. He glanced back at the nameless soldier. He knew something. The soldier knew that the creature didn't escape. He knew something else was going on. There was one more thing that irked at him. If this creature escaped on her own, why would she kill the other prisoners? Then it hit him. No witnesses. And no one in the capital saw anyone of suspicious behavior. Erwin demanded, no one at all? No, the soldier answered. Well, it has been pleasant coming here to see the sloppy mess you call your job, Megatron stated as he walked out of the cell, but the commander here is rather exhausted and we have enough information to find out where Lionheart went. So we shall be on our way. Megatron simply walked back up the stairs. Erwin snapped out of his confusion before running towards the fake form. What are you doing? Erwin demanded, we have to stay. We stay any longer, that soldier is going to get wise, Megatron stated before contacting Optimus and speaking in Cybertronian. Optimus, we have a problem. Hanji sighed as the new recruits began transporting Eren back to the cabin. Nothing. There was no process whatsoever on crystallization. What do you mean? Hanji heard Optimus say. She turned to see Optimus with 2 fingers on his audio receptors, looking rather frustrated. Well then, who do you think would want her? Optimus demanded. Optimus. Hanji called out, is everything okay? Optimus sighed. There has been a complication. Return to the cabin. I will meet you there after I take care of the mess. You sure? Hanji asked with concern. Yes, Optimus answered. Hanji looked at Optimus with sadness before walking over to her horse and jumping on it before riding off. That girl was kidnapped, Megatron declared as he crossed his arms. Erwin stared at the ex-warlord in bewilderment. Before I ask what made you come to that conclusion, why did you bring us to a bar? Megatron glanced behind Erwin from their corner table to see the busy bar. I thought a busy commander such as yourself would need some time to relax. Erwin's eyes narrowed as he attempted to look behind him. It didn't make sense. He guessed the bar was where most people got intoxicated, but wouldn't it be better to go back into the caravan and talk about this? That makes it obvious, Megatron commented. What's going on? Erwin whispered. When someone tells you not to stare, and then you stare, it's make the situation rather uncomfortable, he explained as he grabbed a knife from the table and started cutting a napkin. It's also rather rude. What the hell is he talking about? Erwin thought. The commander looked down at Megatron's napkin which said, "Ears everywhere." "Guess it's a force of habit," Erwin remarked, playing along with whatever game he was doing. Megatron twirled a knife in his hands with great precision. I doubt a girl with a bandaged hand and bound to the wall would be able to grab the key. The guard would no doubt keep a safe distance out of fear. Also, why would a girl who's escaped kill the other prisoners? It seems like a waste of time. Maybe it was a scare tactic, Erwin guessed, noticing that Megatron was glancing behind him again. Who was there? I doubt it, Megatron declared. Your military is either too fearful or apathetic about the girl. They don't want to investigate her whereabouts because they don't want to know the end results. The government won't even give us support anymore to help with the investigation, Erwin sighed. Who's to say that the government was any help in the first place? Megatron challenged as his eyes darted to the door. Erwin seemed bewildered. No help. What if, hypothetically, the government staged for this creature to be kidnapped because they want to shut you up and prevent you from figuring out the truth about the Titans in the wall? Megatron whispered. Erwin narrowed his eyes, causing Megatron to lean back in his chair and chuckle. The med scientist gathers a lot of information, but your expression shows that you don't believe me, Megatron assumed with a smirk. I wouldn't have until earlier today, Erwin admitted. I'm surprised you came to that conclusion so easily. Don't think of me as naive, Megatron said. I asked humans passing by about the wall as well. Some looked at me as if I was insane and asked if I came from the underground. But you have noticed your corrupt government. When I went to speak with the council, I noticed something. They didn't want to help humanity. They just wanted to keep their positions secure and have the wealth to themselves. Well, what do you expect? Megatron asked rhetorically. Your society is nothing more than another caste system designed to be the only safe and secure solution to your race's problem. How is our society a caste system? Erwin demanded. The less money you have, the farther out you are in the walls. The only way to move further inside is to pledge allegiance to the government, most likely through the military. And your survey corps is nothing than a pawn in their game. What does my army have to offer to the government's game? Erwin demanded. We've had nothing to offer for a long time. Our soldiers keep on dying. And that is where you're wrong, Megatron declared. You see, your government wants control. They keep control and power by manipulating the fear of the people. Your army is the perfect solution. How many of your subordinates died under your command? When was the last time you humans succeeded in gaining territory, or any information about the Titans before Optimus showed up? The failure of your army channels the despair and rage of humanity, and they turn to the only thing that has been able to provide security for the past century. You said so yourself, your government cares only for power. Manipulating the humans into believing security is more valuable than freedom is the perfect solution. But why Leonhardt? She's the enemy to mankind, Erwin retorted. I did think about that, Megatron admitted. I thought, why not Optimus Prime's little pet? He's very narrow-minded and wouldn't think the government would go behind your back to kidnap him. Then I realized that the pet has nothing to offer. This Lionheart is more useful to the government than him. As far as I'm concerned, the pet just found about his ability of transforming, and the person who gave it to him is most likely dead and his research is somewhere in Titan territory. You've been experimenting, but only found one thing to the secrets of the Titans. Lionheart has mastered the ability and has mastered some armor technique, while the pet just found out about his mind control ability. She knows the location of the Titan village, so all they have to do is torture her until they get what they want. Megatron placed the knife on the table and tore up the napkin. Who knows, they might go after the pet just to be safe. But they sent someone after the creature. So they take the next best thing while humanity was distracted by Walrus. Try to send us on a goose chase while they do whatever they want, Erwin concluded, before groaning. When did this all happen? Most likely the moment when your walls were built, Megatron declared. Optimus read Aaron's writing, ignoring the sound of a jet engine above him. Megatron transformed and landed behind the Prime before looking around at the remaining damage done. It doesn't look like you yielded much results, Megatron remarked. Are you sure that Leonhardt was kidnapped? Optimus asked. I'm sure, Megatron answered, I know a poor crime scene when I see one. So someone who knows about the walls might have taken her, Optimus concluded. They also might have sent the gunman to kill Pastor Nick, Optimus thought as Megatron kicked a few rocks, meaning the government is trying to silence the Survey Corps. The cabin isn't a safe location anymore, Megatron declared, no doubt someone caught wind of what you were doing. Optimus looked towards a mountain and noticed two life signatures crouching to hide their appearance. We'll inform the Survey Corps, Optimus said, for now we must go. So be it, Megatron said. And one more thing, Optimus began as he turned to Megatron, he is not a pet. Megatron simply glanced at Optimus. When your pet learns how to hold a shield properly, then maybe I won't consider him as such. Optimus didn't respond, knowing that Megatron was trying to get a reaction out of him. He merely sighed. Let's go. Holy shit, there's two of them now, a soldier in a trench coat said, and one of them can fly. So the rumors are true, a man in a fedora hat watched as Optimus and Megatron went on their way, another metal titan walks among us. Commander Ackerman, what do we do? The soldier asked. Lay low for a while, Ackerman answered, we need time to prepare for combat and Rice might have the solution for that. Commander Pixis and Pastor Nick were playing chess when Erwin opened the door to the room and collapsed on the bed. How was the meeting with the council? Pixis asked. I met Megatron, Erwin answered. Pastor Nick looked in confusion while Pixis became startled. And what was Megatron like? Pixis asked. An enigma, Erwin answered as he sat up, I don't understand him or what he wants or why he's staying to help humanity. Is he manipulating us? Is he doing it for Optimus? Anything else? Pixis asked. Erwin didn't answer him as he went to the table and grabbed a sheet of paper and a quill. Despite his ambiguity, he is one hell of a thinker. Hold on, kidnapped. Hanji exclaimed, who would kidnap Annie? Someone who knows about the walls, Optimus answered, and the only ones who would know is the government. This might also be related to the gunman that tried to kill Pastor Nick, Levi added. Megatron raised a metal eyebrow. Who was Pastor Nick? So what do we do? Levi asked, go on a goose chase to find her or let the government have her. She committed a capital offense. Your government will no doubt use the creature for their own benefits and not for the sake of your cause, Megatron declared. Megatron is right, Optimus agreed, we cannot afford to wait. So how long until the government tries to find us? Hanji asked. Someone was watching us not too long ago, Optimus informed, we must move now. Berthold was sweating, trying to sleep when he heard the door open. He looked to see Levi climbing down the ladder and walking towards him. Having trouble sleeping? Levi asked. Berthold simply glared at him as Levi pulled a large stick from behind his back. Don't worry, I'll help, Levi said in a rather dark tone. Back to the castle? Aaron questioned as he looked at Hanji, why? Optimus said that whoever's after us might have already looked there, Hanji answered, they might not look again so we have the castle for about a day or two before we find a new place to hide. So the government really is after us? Connie questioned as he packed the remainder of the supplies. Yeah, Hanji sighed, Erwin sent us a note and figured out the whole thing with Megatron. Are you really going off of his word? Jean demanded, deception is in the name Decepticons. Well, it's either him or the government, and I'm taking my chances with the giant transformer, Hanji declared, so let's move out. Aaron watched Hanji move forward before looking behind him to see Armin. So no matter what we do now, we're nothing more than criminals. Yeah, Armin agreed, we are. Annie groaned as she opened her eyes to a candle-lit room. She tried to speak, but realized that the muzzle was still on her mouth. But what bugged her was, why was she lying down? She tried to get up, but realized that her hand and feet were chained to a table. She struggled but was unable to break free. Struggling won't help you much, a voice said. Annie looked to see a middle-aged man that looked like Krista. Who was he? Where was she? What was going on? The man set a box on the ground and opened it to reveal blue glowing rocks. Wait, Annie thought before remembering what that stuff was. It was the same thing that Optimus shot her with. The thing that destroyed her arm. Annie began to struggle with her restraints, but nothing was working. She couldn't break free. I need you to stay still, the man said as he put on gloves. This will probably hurt less if you don't struggle. I still need you to stay alive. I need to create something important. Annie gasped as he realized what was going to happen. No, 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 no. Someone help her. Chapter 17, Coup d'etat Part 1. Aaron looked at the old castle the Corps used to stay in. So why are we staying in here? The government already knew where we were staying before the expedition a month ago, so they already looked here for you and Optimus, Hanji explained. They wouldn't think to double-check. I don't know, Aaron admitted. We'll move out in a day or so once we find a better place, Hanji reassured. Just help me with this stuff. Aaron grabbed a bag of supplies from the horse and was about to walk into the castle, but stopped when he noticed Optimus and Megatron in their hollow form. Aaron felt anger rise in him as he saw the former Decepticon carrying Berthold like a sack of flour. He shouldn't be allowed free will. He shouldn't be allowed free will. Aaron yelped as he felt someone grab his ear and pull him behind the horse's pen. He looked up to see him face to face with Levi. Glaring at Buckethead is not going to make anything better, Levi declared. You might even make the situation worse if you try to provoke him. He doesn't deserve to live, Aaron hissed, earning a smack in the head. We don't know both sides of the story, Levi explained. I don't, so I'm being careful and will only retaliate if Buckethead does decide to attack humanity. Levi noticed Aaron was still angry. This is about something else. It's not fair, Aaron said. Optimus has been fighting for others for so long and everyone he cares about thinks he's dead. Megatron destroyed worlds and he gets to walk away without any punishment. Levi sighed. You're right. It's not fair, it never was. But we can't do anything to change their past. The issues that they have are between them. Let them hash it out on their own and come to a compromise. This isn't our place, just keep that in mind. Aaron looked back at the two before sighing. If he does attack, I will kill him. Hanji tapped her foot as Optimus and Megatron came out of Berthold's holding cell. He is detained, Optimus informed and passed her the key. So now what do we do? Hanji asked. We can't get to Irwin cause we'll all get caught. Government wants us dead, and you, Megs, are just an entire different category. What did you just call me? Megatron hissed as Optimus put a hand in front of him. Optimus gave Hanji a rather irritated look while she just shrugged. You will need supplies soon enough, Optimus stated, meaning you may have to go into Trost. True, but we can't risk exposing ourselves too suddenly, and we shouldn't bring Aaron or Historia, Hanji retorted. Maybe we can send Megatron again. I am not doing your dirty work again, Megatron declared. Well, we can't send Prime because he's a giant red and blue caravan that we have no idea how to hide, Hanji retorted. You can fly beyond this world and still have a hollow form intact. We'll discuss that later, Optimus said. What about Aaron and Historia? Someone is after them and we cannot leave them alone. Maybe we don't have to, Hanji said. I have an idea, but we're going to need Armin and Jean. Pixis knocked on the door to Irwin's room and noticed that he was trying to write with his left hand. Irwin, you shouldn't strain yourself, Pixis commented. I have to learn how to do activities with my left hand, Irwin commented. I thought writing would be a good start. Pixis took the pen from Irwin's hand and placed it down on the table. You need to rest. Irwin remained silent and didn't move from his seat. Pixis was about to put a hand on his shoulder, but Irwin grabbed it. I'll be fine, Irwin reassured. I've just always wondered about Optimus' backstory. Why wonder about that? Pixis asked. I talked with Optimus briefly after the trial, Irwin explained. He said that there were more like him, but that they were returning to his home. Then Hanji got a hold of his history, and it made me wonder even more. If Optimus was this powerful titan, are there more that are stronger than he is? His enemy, Megatron, was he stronger than him? What was he like? Did Optimus fear him? Did Megatron fear death? Why was Megatron more concerned about Optimus when he threatened me? Irwin, you shouldn't dwell on that, Pixis said, worrying about it is going to make it worse for you. Erwin sighed. I can't stop. Not when humanity is on the line. Aaron crossed his arms in irritation while Historia looked at Levi and the rest of the scouts were packing to go into town. Why do we have to stay here? Aaron demanded. Stop being a little shit-face about it, Levi ordered, we just need to go into town to get some supplies. Someone might be there to kidnap the both of you, but we have to make sure. What about Hanji? Historia asked. She went to find another place that we could hide out at, Levi answered, just to cover up all of our ends. What about Optimus and Megatron? Aaron asked. They went ahead, Levi answered. Prime said he was going to be in Trost to look for any suspicious activity. Not sure if bringing Buckethead to a populated area again was such a good idea, but we'll see what happens. Aaron scowled at the thought while Historia nodded her head. All right, everyone, let's go, Levi called out. The scouts grabbed their horses as they rode towards the Trost district. So what do you want to do? Historia asked. Levi was tempted to put his hood on, but decided against it, knowing that would make him look suspicious. He just had to be careful of who saw him. He was the face of the Survey Corps, so if someone did recognize him, it would mean big trouble. Levi looked around, trying to find the Prime's hollow form. Damn it! Where could he be? The Titan was red and blue. He should not be hard to find. Levi grunted as someone bumped into him. He looked up to see Prime's familiar human face and noticed that he was wearing a gray jacket instead of his familiar red one. Where's Buckethead? Levi asked. He is not far behind, Optimus answered. We managed to find suspicious activity. Levi sighed. Why exactly did you bring him here? Why didn't you just leave him back at the castle? I cannot, Optimus answered. I cannot trust him to be left alone. Wouldn't bringing him here cause a bit of mass hysteria? Levi asked. What if he pulls off something that gets us killed? If I leave him with Aaron, then we will all be exposed, Optimus whispered. Levi raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Aaron is angry with me that I never spoke about Megatron's existence with him, Optimus explained. He's angry with me and he's angry at Megatron. Megatron does have tendencies of losing his composure. If they both encounter each other and Aaron say the wrong thing, I fear that he may end up dead. Levi sighed. I just hope you know what you're doing. Mikasa watched the sight around her. Titans used to flood the streets here, her comrades died here. Now it looks like a ghost town. The Ackerman felt a shadow loom over her as she looked up to see a male with multiple scars on his face walking side by side with her. He noticed she was looking at him, but simply didn't say anything. Who are you? Mikasa demanded, hand ready to pull the knife in her pocket. The other two managed to figure out who I am, he answered. I figured you might do the same. Mikasa recognized the voice and let go of the knife at her side. You're Megatron. Correct, Megatron merely said. Mikasa looked at the people in the streets before looking back at the warlord. So do you naturally hate humans? Megatron looked down at her. A rather blunt statement, but yes. Humans are weak nuisances. My opinion on them hasn't changed in the past month that I've been alone. I don't blame you, Mikasa admitted. As a species, we're rather pitiful and cruel against each other. Preying on the weak to survive. Sometimes I wonder how Optimus is able to see the good in us if he's willing to sacrifice his time here. Megatron was rather surprised by her response. I didn't expect that kind of response. I've experienced it firsthand, Mikasa explained. This world is cruel, but it is beautiful. An odd thing to say, Megatron admitted. You don't really think that way, Mikasa assumed. See the world through my optics and you may understand, Megatron stated. Mikasa looked at Optimus' hollow form and back at Megatron. So then, do you hate Optimus? It's complicated, Megatron merely answered, but regarding what you said about your own kind. Would you really be willing to kill them, even if they are not your designated enemy? I have to, Mikasa declared. I have people I need to protect, and I don't have time for mercy. What if your comrade turned out to be a traitor? Megatron asked. Dead men tell no tales, Mikasa answered. Megatron didn't know what to say to the human. He was rather surprised by her ideology and what she says that she's willing to do. He hasn't seen her in combat yet, but it would be interesting to see what she was capable of. "What is your name?" Megatron asked. Mikasa was confused but answered anyway. "Mikasa. Mikasa Ackerman." "Well then, it will be interesting to see what you are capable of, Ackerman," Megatron stated. Megatron noticed that some of the citizens surrounding them and bombarding Levi with questions and demanding why they haven't helped. Optimus tried to calm them down, but they weren't having it. The former Khan heard a faint noise and turned to see a caravan coming straight for them. "Watch out!" Megatron yelled before grabbing Mikasa and pulling her out of the way. Levi kicked one of the men out of the way while Optimus pulled another one. Everyone else managed to jump out of the way, but not before two men on the caravan grabbed Armin and Jean. "Ah shit! They got Eren and Krista!" Sasha shouted. "Ackerman, rifle!" Megatron shouted. Mikasa quickly took the rifle and tossed it to Megatron. Megatron fired and shot off the wheel of the cart. The cart skidded out of control and crashed into one of the fruit carts. "Let's go!" Optimus ordered as he ran to grab Armin and Jean. "Hey, what the dash?" The citizens of the town were startled as the Survey Corps disappeared from their sights. Eren sat on the couch while Historia rested her head on the table. He rested his hands under his chin as he thought about his friends. They were all contributing to helping out overthrow the government. And all he and Historia were doing were sitting on their asses doing nothing. He should be doing something. He had the powers of a Titan. He should be finding a way to help. Even that bastard Megatron was contributing into helping humanity, but he knew it wouldn't last. He was probably blackmailing Optimus or something, and he would probably destroy humanity when it suited him. Someone who was willing to kill millions wouldn't care for a bunch of humans. But what about Berthold? He was a Titan shifter. He was responsible for the death of his mother. For taking away his home. His friends. Everyone he cared about. So, did he not care about him and his friends? For the past 3 years they spent together, did he and Reiner only play them? Was it all a lie? Eren put his hands on his knees. He needed to find out from Berthold. The teen stood up and walked out of the room and walked down to the basement. He needed to find out from him personally. "So why didn't you grab one of the merchant?" Levi asked Optimus as the Corps decided to hide on the rooftops. "Getting Armin and Jean to safety is my top concern," Optimus explained. "However, without the resources or Armin and Jean, they would have no choice but to return to their base." "Hopefully we're tailing team to the right place," Levi said. "Captain, we found something," Sasha called out. Levi and Optimus walked over to Sasha as she pointed to the 3 men that attacked them earlier today. They watched as they ran inside of an abandoned warehouse. "All right, let's move," Levi instructed. "Wait," Optimus began as he placed his hand in front of Levi. "Megatron, and I will go." "You two can't," Levi declared. "What if you get exposed? And what if you get killed?" Optimus retorted, "Your numbers are already small as it is ever since Walrose. I cannot allow you to sacrifice more of your comrades. You gonna be okay in there?" Sasha asked. "There's probably more than 3 guys." "We will be fine," Optimus reassured as he stood up and linked Megatron. "We must move." Megatron got the message before jumping onto the roof of the warehouse with Optimus following behind. Optimus saw an open window before grabbing the edge of the roof and flipping inside. "So do they feel pain in that form?" Sasha asked as Megatron followed Optimus. "How the fuck am I supposed to know?" Levi retorted. Eren waited outside of the basement door before taking a deep breath. He couldn't let his anger get to the better of him. He had to breathe, he needed to calm down. He needed to do this. Eren opened the door to the sight of Berthold on a bed behind bars. His back faced him as he was curled in on himself. Eren noticed the chains hanging from the wall connected to his legs and hands. "So have to come to torture me once more, demons." Berthold spoke. "Says the one who wiped out 20% of humanity's population," Eren retorted. Berthold shifted to look at Eren. "I didn't expect to see you here. If it were on my terms, you wouldn't even be here, Aaron declared. Berthold snorted. "'Cause you were doing such a good job helping out humanity defeat the Titans." Aaron felt the anger boil in him, but he had to push it down. "Why are you here?" Berthold asked. "I want answers," Aaron answered. "I'm not telling you anything about the Titans," Berthold assumed. "I want to know why you did it," Aaron corrected. "Why did you decide to attack humanity?" Megatron and Optimus hid behind crates on opposite ends of the warehouse as they saw the head merchant walk in with 5 others. The merchant looked around, but noticed that something was missing. "Where are Aaron and Historia?" he demanded. "We couldn't get them, Reeves," one of the men from earlier confessed. "What?" Reeves exclaimed. "The Survey Corps stopped us." Another one explained, "They probably know we're onto them and left the city." "Damn it, this wasn't supposed to happen." Reeves yelled, "Which one of them stopped you?" Reeves heard loud grunting followed by bodies hitting the floor. He turned to see Optimus and Megatron standing above 3 of his men with their rifles aimed at them. "So who wants to die first?" Megatron asked. "Don't just stand there. Attack!" Reeves yelled. The remaining 5 of the merchants charged, but the 2 Titans split off. Optimus tripped one of the merchants and kicked another one in the face while Megatron flat out shot one of them in the leg. Megatron saw the man writhe in pain before looking over to see Reeves trying to run. Megatron hopped onto one of the crates while Optimus broke one of the other men's arm. The ex-con bolted and tackled Reeves before pinning him to the ground. Megatron grabbed the pistol in Reeves' side and pointed it at his head. "I have the leader," Megatron told Optimus. Optimus elbowed the last of the merchants in the face before dusting himself off. The Prime noticed one more merchant creeping up behind Megatron. He bolted towards the nearest rifle and was ready to fire, but an arrow flew past Megatron and pierced the man in the shoulder. The 2 Titans looked up to see Sasha crouching down on a crate with another arrow ready to fire. "You're welcome, tin cans," Sasha shouted. "Your assistance is acknowledged, not appreciated, Archer," Megatron stated. Aaron growled as Berthold chose to ignore him. "Answer me." "Why?" Berthold questioned. "I'm not obligated to answer anything." Aaron kicked the bars. "Don't fuck with me. My mother died then. She died right before my eyes, I told you. How the hell do you sleep at night knowing what you did? You didn't even react when I told you. Do you really not feel anything, you monster?" Aaron's hands gripped the bars. Did those 3 years mean nothing? Was it all a lie? Berthold finally turned to look Aaron in the eye. "You think it was? You think I wanted to kill your mother? You think I wanted to kill people for fun? Who would enjoy that? Well, you were fine considering how well you slept at night," Aaron retorted. "Damn it, Aaron. I didn't choose this," Berthold yelled as he stepped forward to what the chains would allow. Berthold gasped as he coughed up blood. Aaron took a step back as Berthold covered his mouth, but it was useless as blood still stained the floor. Aaron gasped as the scars on his hand spread to his elbow. "What the hell?" Aaron breathed. "Aaron!" Hanji shouted as she and Historia ran into the room. "Oh shit! Get away from him! What's going on with him?" Aaron demanded. "I'll explain later. Just come in." Hanji yelled as she pulled Aaron out of the room and shut the door. Connie and Sasha finished tying up the last merchant before Levi and Mikasa walked up to Reeves. Optimus leaned against one of the crates with Megatron sitting next to him. "These forms are going to dissipate soon," Megatron reminded. "If we leave now, the merchants will become suspicious," Optimus retorted. "We should still be careful about it," Megatron stated. Optimus crossed his arms in response. Megatron looked to the side and noticed one of the crates had a familiar blue glow to it. The ex-con stood up and walked over to the crate. "Please be gentle with me, sir," Reeves begged before looking up at Mikasa. "I remember you," Mikasa spoke. "You were blocking the exit of Trost with the crate." "They called him boss." Reeves scowled in response. "Looks like we got our man," Levi declared, "but I'm not enjoying staying in here. Why don't we take this somewhere more open?" Reeves was about to respond, but a shot rang out of the building. Armin gasped as one of the merchant's head was blown off and on the floor, dripping with blood. Everyone turned to see Megatron glaring at Reeves before dropping the rifle that he picked up. "The hell's wrong with him?" Jean demanded. "Megatron, that was uncalled for," Optimus hissed as he grabbed Megatron by the collar. "Was it really?" Megatron questioned before kicking a hole the crate behind him. Solid energon spilled out from the crate before toppling down on the ground. Optimus looked down in horror and let go of Megatron's collar. "Hey, that's Dash. Doesn't belong to you," Megatron cut off as he stepped on and crushed a piece of energon. Reeves gulped as Megatron walked forward. "Look, Sir Dash." "Shut up," Megatron ordered, causing Reeves' mouth to snap shut. "I know you have no knowledge of what this is and what it can do, but I bet that your buyer does. So tell me what your buyer's name is." "I'm not obligated to Dash," Reeves grunted as Megatron grabbed him by the collar and lifted him in the air. "Do not take me for a fool and stop avoiding the question," Megatron yelled. Optimus aimed the rifle at the back of Megatron's head. "Enough. Do not make the situation worse than it already is." Megatron glanced back at Optimus. "Answer the question before I kill you. Who is your buyer?" Optimus pulled down the hammer and placed his finger on the trigger. "Do not make me shoot you." "You should listen to your friend," Reeves advised. "I bet you don't want to die like this." "Living is harder," Megatron declared, "and I can torture to the point where you'll be begging for death." "You wouldn't," Reeves said. Megatron gave Reeves a devilish grin. "Try me." Reeves felt a chill go up his spine before looking back at the Prime. "Damn it. The buyer is Rod Reiss." Megatron dropped Reeves on the ground while Optimus lowered the rifle. The ex-con looked back at his former enemy. "You have a lead now." "You're welcome." Megatron walked past Optimus and made his way towards the door while the new recruits let out a sigh of relief. Aaron and Historia raised their heads as Hanji walked into the room they were waiting in earlier. Hanji sighed as she grabbed a chair and sat down. "Damn it, Aaron. What were you thinking?" "I wanted an answer." Aaron answered, "I wanted to know why he did what he did." "You haven't been able to get an answer out of him." "Interrogation takes time, damn it." Hanji yelled. "Squad leader, what happened to Berthold?" Historia asked. "He's been infected by Dark Energon," Hanji answered. Aaron was rather surprised while Historia was confused. "Dark Energon?" Historia questioned, "What is that?" "Probably the deadliest thing that can kill a Cybertronian," Hanji answered. "But there's no Dark Energon here," Aaron retorted. "How would Berthold be infected by it?" "Remember when Optimus told you that Megatron infused his body with it, and that was the same substance that brought him back to life?" "Dark Energon never left Megatron's system," Hanji explained. "The god of destruction may have been extracted from his body, but the thing that is supposed to kill him is actually keeping him alive." Dramatic irony at its finest. "But the god of destruction's been defeated," Historia retorted. "True, but Optimus doesn't want to take any risks," Hanji explained, "so if you don't want to die a slow death, stay away from Berthold." "But what about Berthold?" Aaron asked. "Isn't there a way to stop the thing from infecting him?" "Unless there's a way to liquefy Energon here, then we have no choice but to interrogate him until he dies," Hanji answered. "Apparently cutting off the infect body part doesn't work. It just continues to spread and for some reason regrow." "How much time is that?" Aaron demanded. "My guess, until the infection from his hand reaches his heart," Hanji answered. Erwin looked at the paper in his hand stating that he must return to the capital once he has fully recovered. Should he go back? Or should he wait it out and continue to fake his injury? If Megatron was correct, he couldn't carelessly fall back into their trap. The monarchy of whoever was ruling could not last. They were going to kill humanity before they even had a chance to expand and thrive and find out the truth about the Titans. He couldn't let that happen. Humanity was running out of time and options. And if putting his faith in two sentient Titans was going to help restore humanity, then so be it. "Pixis!" Erwin called out, "I need to speak with you." "Oh, Levi, you're back, and who's this?" Hanji questioned as she looked at Reeves. "Our new partner," Levi answered. he's going to help us kidnap someone from the military police's 1st Brigade. Okay, good, Hanji smiled. Speaking of the government, I found a new location where we can hide from them that's not too far from here. Good, Levi said. So where are Optimus and Megatron? Hanji asked. They're hashing things out, Levi answered lightly. What you did back there was completely uncalled for. Optimus hissed as he and Megatron were conversing in their bipedal mode. Uncalled for? Megatron exclaimed, the humans were stealing our energon supply. It was that stupid mech organization all over again. That did not mean you had to kill one of the merchants. They were not even the ones hoarding the energon, it was someone else. Optimus retorted, you could have cost us the mission. And the energon would have been transported to whoever this Rod Rice is. Megatron countered. Levi already convinced Reeves to join the Survey Corps. The military was blackmailing him. If you didn't use a violent solution, there would not be any tension. Optimus proclaimed. Primus' sake, I still cannot believe that you would still choose a peaceful solution. Especially with the humans betraying you at any given time. They've suffered for a century with the fear of being eaten alive. Yet they go behind your back and steal pieces of our culture. Our lives. The med scientist most likely would have kept her knowledge your history from you. These humans are unreliable, manipulative, selfish. Optimus clenched his fist. No one asked you to stay. No one asked you to stay and help the humans. Your presence here has actually made the situation worse. I think the creature you have in custody refutes that statement, Megatron countered. He's dying. Optimus exclaimed, he's dying because of the dark energon in his systems. Not to mention you've been causing conflict within the Survey Corps. Maybe there wouldn't be an issue if you gave me a chance to prove that I can be trusted. Megatron retorted. After years of fighting against each other? You think I will just forgive you and say join us? Optimus exclaimed, I have tried, you were too stubborn to listen. And you're too stubborn to understand that humanity is just a waste of your time, Megatron declared. Optimus took a deep breath and glared at Megatron. Then leave. What? Megatron said. Go. Leave this planet. If you think humanity is such a waste of your time, then go. Optimus yelled before pointing to the sky, you have the power to leave. Travel the galaxy. Go home. I have a mission and I do not have time to listen to your complaints. The two titans stared each other down, but stopped when they heard someone coughing. They looked down to see Hanji rubbing the back of her head. So, Hanji trailed off, if you two are done bickering like an ex-couple, we have moved to a better location. Fine, Optimus said as he walked past Megatron and towards the castle. Hanji looked up at Megatron to see that he was rather uneasy. If you breathe a word about anything that you have heard, I will slaughter you, Megatron declared as he glared at her. Hanji laughed nervously. Fair enough. Hanji and Levi watched from the cliff afar to see Reeves transporting members of the military brigade to the fake location. They saw the caravan with the few members of the brigade slip and fall into the ravine. They jumped down and used their 3D gear to grab the men from the ravine before climbing back up and making their way back to their new hideout. Berthold's dying. Armin asked in surprise as they sat in one of the rooms of their new hideout. Yeah, apparently he's been infected by whatever's in Megatron, Aaron explained. Hanji says by the time it reaches his heart, he'll be dead. Well, that's splendid, Jean groaned, not only that we're considered traitors to humanity. Damn it. I signed up for Titans. Now I don't even know who the real enemy is. Technically you signed up to join the military police, Connie recalled. Shut up. You wanted to do that too, Jean retorted. By the way, what happened out there? Historia asked. I noticed that Optimus and Megatron were angrier. Megatron killed someone and Optimus tried to kill him, Mikasa answered casually. Well, he almost destroyed his human form. Not to mention he threatened to kill the one guy who knew about Rod Rice, Jean added. My father? Historia questioned. Yeah, Jean answered, apparently he's been taking Optimus' food supply or something. For what? Aaron questioned. We know energon can be used as a weapon, It's not just sustenance, Armin explained, but Energon is dangerous towards humans, so what could he possibly need it for? The recruits stopped when they heard screaming from down in the basement. Rod placed the Energon within a small cylinder before placing it next to other ones in the crate. He heard the door open, but didn't bother to turn and see who it was. Rice, that bastard merchant didn't come back with Eren, Historia, or that blue stuff, the man said. Rod sighed as he placed his tools on the table. He most likely got caught by the Survey Corps. The military wouldn't touch him because he's the one that provides food for them. So do you want me to kill him and his crew? He asked. Yes, Kenny, Rod answered, we can't risk the Survey Corps gaining the upper hand. Speaking of, did you find anything else about that flying titan? Not much, Kenny sighed, other than the fact that he looks like the devil. Rod hummed in response. Let me know if anything else comes up. Hanji took off her glasses and sighed. Nothing's worked. Sans isn't saying anything to us and we're running out of time. What do you think we should do? Levi asked. I don't know, Hanji admitted, you wanna ask Optimus and Megatron. Hanji, we can't rely on them for everything, Levi retorted. But we need answers, Hanji retorted, and probably know the best methods of torture possible. They hate each other, they can't even stay in the same room without causing any trouble, Levi stated. Maybe giving them an objective goals helps divert them from their own personal issues, Hanji proclaimed, it happened when they fought Berthold and Reiner. You really want to test that? Levi questioned. We have to, Hanji declared. Sans opened his eyes as the door opened to Optimus and Megatron walking into the room. Who are you? Sans demanded. Your tormentors, Megatron answered as he closed the door. I will not repeat this again, so listen carefully, Optimus began, I do not want to make this harder on you than it has to be. We will provide you with a chance to tell us the information that we require peacefully. And if I don't? Sans asked. You'll be dead, Megatron answered, don't ask such a foolish question. You really are going to kill a valuable soldier of the king? Sans tested. Sans grunted as the Prime grabbed his face and forced the man to look at him. If you came to us in chains a week ago, I may have considered sparing your life. But I have run out of mercy and your government has made me lose my patience. Sans was rather confused by the man's response, but also suspicious because his voice sounded familiar. Optimus let go of the man's face and looked him dead in the eye. Now, why is the Rice family aware of the Titans in the wall and not thinking? Why are both Eren and Historia valuable to Rice? Sans didn't answer. He was not going to say anything. He wasn't going to betray the king. Do not make this worse than it needs to be, Optimus advised. If Levi and Hanji sent two strangers to coax information out of me, then they must be really desperate, Sans said. Optimus sighed at his response. Megatron. Sans wasn't able to react as he felt something wrap around his throat and pull him back against the chair. He began choking and managed to raise his gaze to see Megatron holding the rope around his neck. The human body can last on average 5 minutes without oxygen, Optimus explained, maybe less for you since you've experienced blood loss. Not to mention you humans can experience processor damage without your precious air, Megatron added, so you better start talking if you want to serve your precious king. Sans kept on trying to breathe as the rope around his neck became tighter. He couldn't use his hands, he couldn't break free. Sans took a deep breath as Megatron took the rope away from his neck. The man looked in fear as Megatron gave a sinister grin. However, killing you now wouldn't be so fun, Megatron declared, let's see how long it would take for you to be broken. You know it's a little bit upsetting that we can only hear this, Hanji admitted. It's amazing how that's your top priority, Levi sighed, seeing the torture. Captain, what are you doing? Eren asked as he walked towards him, I thought you were torturing someone. We were, but we weren't yielding results so we decided to use Optimus and Megatron, Hanji explained. What? Eren questioned, why would you let that happen? Because Megatron and Optimus are most likely the best chance we have in figuring out why the Rice family is so important, Hanji answered. The door opened and Optimus stepped out before closing it. Ms. Zoe, do you have the prototype gun with you? Yeah, it's upstairs, Hanji answered, I'll go get it. Why do you need that? Levi asked, won't that kill him? As long as we do not hit any vital organs and make sure he doesn't bleed out, Optimus answered. Megatron also said he wanted to shoot him in the eye. Aaron felt uneasy hearing Optimus talk about torture like this. He didn't like it. Here, Optimus, Hanji said as she came back down and handed him the pistol. Thank you, Optimus said before going back in the torture room. Aaron felt extremely uneasy and he clenched his stomach. Levi noticed this and turned to him. Aaron, I think you should go stay with your friends. Okay, Aaron merely answered as he walked back up the stairs. Later. Sans kept taking huge gasps of air before screaming as he felt a knife logged in his hand. He glared at Optimus as the Prime pulled out the blood-stained blade. It's been a couple of hours since Sans' torture with Optimus and Megatron began. The man was tortured in every way possible, burned, stabbed, cut, shot at, etc. Megatron even managed to shoot off part of his ear. I really wish the humans invented electricity, Megatron groaned as he loaded the gun again. We could probably make a prod or something. What the hell is wrong with you? Sans hissed. I'm bored, Megatron answered, you're boring me, you're not squirming like you're supposed to. Now stay still so I can take out your eye. You monsters! Sans shouted. Oh, do you plan to hurt me with words? Megatron mocked, it's not working. You would have been spared this if you told us the information that we require, Optimus declared. My job is to protect the king. Sans shouted, I will not let it fall into the hands of people like you. Titans are considered adorable next to you. That's more of a compliment for us, Megatron whispered to himself. The Titans have advanced, Optimus began, they took away Wall Maria, and your government has been refraining humanity from advancing and expanding territory. If you continue to remain in the same position that you were at a century ago, then there will be no king to protect. We've been protecting humanity. Sans retorted, civil war hasn't broken out because of us. Anyone who made advancements or got wise about the government was Sans yelled as blood was coming out of his right eye. Optimus glared at Megatron as he pulled the hammer down again. What? He wouldn't shut up, Megatron said. If you're really that violent then just torture me to death already. Sans shouted. No, Optimus said. It wouldn't be much fun and you asking for death just makes me want to keep you alive, Megatron explained before an idea popped into his head. Actually, let's make you completely useless to your precious king. What? Sans stuttered. Megatron walked over and grabbed the knife from Optimus' hand before forcing Sans' head down. I could just destroy the nerve in between your spinal cord right now. You'd never be able to walk, to move, to do the basic activities that we all seem to take for naught. You would unable to serve your king, and you would be unable to move for the rest of your pathetic life. No. No. Tell us what we need to know and this will not happen, Optimus demanded. Who is the real royal family? Who is the one that truly rules humanity? I don't know. I don't know. Please don't do this. Sans begged. You have 5 seconds, Megatron declared as he positioned the knife. 4, 3, 2 dash. Connie covered his ears as everyone heard a death-curdling scream from the torture room. God damn it, what the hell are they doing in there? Jean demanded. Aaron merely took a deep breath. He felt sick, he felt really sick. Optimus cut the last of his bounds, allowing Megatron to push his body to the floor. Sans tried to move his body, his hands, anything, but it was no use. You should clean yourself up, Megatron mocked. Optimus placed a cloth on the back of Sans' neck to stop the bleeding. Why do I care? A muffled voice from outside said. Sans always prattled on about the king. It got really annoying. Do us a favor and kill him for us. What? Sans mumbled weakly in horror. Ralph. We can't kill him until he backs up what you told us, Levi declared. Look, I already gave you everything, just make sure that I have a bed in my cell, Ralph said. Megatron began chuckling before he laughed his head off. It looks like this torture was pointless, wasn't it? You probably wished that we went to your compatriot. Might have saved you and I and the rest of your body. But it's too late. Your sacrifice meant nothing. Megatron continued laughing while Sans shed a tear out of his good eye. What did your comrade confess to Captain Levi? Optimus asked. Sans looked up at Optimus. The Rice family is the true royal family. Erwin read the information that Nifa gave him. So my suspicions were right. Meaning we can replace the king without killing anyone, by placing Historia Rice on the throne as the rightful ruler. Chapter 18, Coup d'Etat Part 2. Megatron's optics snapped open from another one of his gruesome nightmares. He blinked and found himself looking up at this twisted Earth's starry sky. He's alive. He's still alive. He sat up and rubbed his optics in irritation before leaning against a tree. The ex-con glanced over to see Optimus asleep in his bipedal mode, his back facing him. Megatron sighed and looked back at the sky. This was hard, this was extremely hard. He was trying so hard to prove that he could be an ally to Optimus. He was trying to get Optimus to trust him, but the humans were so infuriating. He couldn't get along with them. He didn't harm the ones on their side at the very least, but Optimus was still willing to kill him if he used excessive violence. Megatron groaned in irritation. All he wants is to fix the damage between them, but 4 million years of damage wasn't going to be fixed overnight. He still wants to do something meaningful, something that doesn't end up harming another. Megatron picked up some yelling followed by a long bang in the castle. He recognized it to be the med scientist inside. What was that human on about now? Hanji slammed the chair into the floor before stomping on the pieces of wood. After her little chat with Sans, she needed to blow off some steam. She ended up going to the dining hall and started breaking the tables and chairs in her sight. So far she broke a table and 3 chairs. And after stomping on the one in her possession, she grabbed the leg of the chair and threw it at the door. Megatron opened the door with the hollow form and caught the leg. The ex-con looked at the damage the human made and was not amused. Mad scientist, Megatron spoke. What? Hanji shouted as she quickly turned. She recognized his hollow form and grimaced. What the hell do you want? I can hear your obnoxious screaming from outside, Megatron answered. Because there was a bug. Hanji yelled, a huge-ass cockroach that needed to be squashed. You are a terrible liar, mad scientist, Megatron remarked as he crossed his arms. I'm not mad. Hanji declared, do I look mad? You know what, don't answer that. Instead, get the fuck out. Hanji walked over to Megatron and tried to push him out of the room, but with no result. Megatron merely raised an eyebrow at her and her futile efforts. He grabbed her by the collar before closing the door behind him. He grabbed a chair that was still intact and sat her down before grabbing one for himself and sitting in front of her with his legs crossed. Talk, Megatron ordered. No, Hanji refused. Talk. Fuck you, Hanji hissed. Are you trying to test my patience? Megatron demanded. Hanji merely responded by flipping Megatron off. Her heart stopped when Megatron shot up and grabbed one of her hands. He then grabbed her face and forced her to look him dead in the eye. I can break your servos right now, Megatron declared. I can torture you in multiple ways and break your neck with ease before another word comes out of your mouth. You think I give a shit? Hanji questioned. I've seen people get eaten alive for the past 6 years of my life. Your words mean nothing to me. Megatron raised an skeptic eyebrow while Hanji looked at the hand gripping hers. Has anyone ever told you your hollow form hands are cold? Hanji asked. Something is troubling you, Megatron stated as he let Hanji go. Something might be, Hanji shrugged. I think the state of this room would beg to differ, Megatron retorted as he sat down. Why do you care? Hanji demanded. You don't give a shit about humans, and if Optimus weren't here, you'd be long gone. Optimus won't let me leave, Megatron retorted, so that makes us both in situations we don't want to be in. Hanji laughed. That's funny. You're funny. Because you could easily defeat Optimus and leave at any given opportunity. You're stronger than him, and you have that stupid dark energon shit in your systems. And while you get to leave at any given opportunity, humanity is stuck here. Optimus is stuck here. While me, Erwin, and Levi, or whoever the fuck is still alive have been slaving away and sacrificing our soldiers to find a sliver of hope, we're being shamed and vilified by those ungrateful citizens. And those fucking bastards knew. They all knew and killed others for knowing the truth. They let us die and I hope they burn in hell. Hanji yelled as she grabbed her chair and threw it at the wall. She huffed while Megatron looked at her with an unreadable expression. Why are you here? Hanji asked, really? I tried recharging, but couldn't over your incessant yelling, Megatron answered. Well, I'm sorry, Your Majesty, Hanji drawled out as she mockingly bowed, not everyone can sleep with a clear mind or indulge in slaughter like you can. And how is your situation any different from Optimus? Megatron demanded, he's stranded on this world, sacrificing his life for you without any hesitation, and you repay him by intentionally going behind his back to steal his secrets. Hanji sighed. That's different. Then explain, Megatron ordered. All right, Buckethead, Hanji hissed, when Optimus strolled in with his guns and knives, killing over 100 Titans in a couple of hours and says, I'm here to help humanity out of the goodness of my spark. Not only that, but there's a world full of Titans like him and you and whatever you guys are. Might I add you two are still holding grudges against each other after a 4-million-year war. Erwin needed as much information on him as possible to confirm that he wasn't out to kill us. And you better not tell me you wouldn't have done the same thing. Megatron watched as Hanji kicked the broken table before walking over to the wall and sitting down on the floor. You can leave, Hanji sneered, I won't yell anymore, so you can just go back to your beauty sleep. Hanji glanced up at the ceiling before closing her eyes. She expected the ex-con to just leave the room or deactivate his hollow form. Instead, she yelped as Megatron grabbed her arm and pulled her to her feet. If I was anything like my old self, then you would be dead, Megatron remarked. Well, you haven't met Levi, Hanji retorted, guy hits me on the head for no damn reason. Megatron hummed in response. Has Optimus told you about that monkey titan? Wait, what? Hanji exclaimed, you saw it. It tried to kill me, Megatron explained as he sat down. Well, why didn't you say anything? Hanji demanded. Because Optimus wouldn't believe me if I told him, and he doesn't want me around any of you humans, Megatron answered. Well, Hanji began before pulling out her notebook, it would be great you told me. Megatron an eyebrow while Hanji grabbed a chair and dragged it in front of Megatron before sitting down. I'd be happy to know, Hanji grinned. Megatron thought this was weird. This human was definitely strange. He just tried to kill her a few minutes ago and she seemed to completely gloss that over. I don't have much to offer. Some is better than nothing, especially in humanity's situation, Hanji proclaimed. Fine, I'll enlighten you, Megatron sighed. It should get her mind off of whatever she was angry about. Aaron woke up to a loud crash a couple of minutes ago and realized that it was from downstairs. Aaron sat up and looked around to see most of his friends were still sleeping. He stood up and walked over their sleeping forms before making his way down the steps. As he made his way down to the first floor, he started to hear mumbling, as if someone was having a conversation. Aaron followed the noise up another set of stairs to a closed door. He heard Hanji, but was a little unsure who the other person was. He took a deep breath and opened the door. Squad leader, I heard yelling earlier. Are you dash? Aaron stopped himself short when he saw Megatron's hollow form sitting cross-legged in a chair while Hanji was talking to him. Aaron felt anger rise in him as he held onto the door. What's he doing here? Aaron demanded. We're having a discussion about the monkey titan, Megatron answered as Hanji showed her notebook. Why would you tell about that? Aaron exclaimed. He said he ran into him, Hanji explained, oddly enough, right after Optimus beat the crap out of him. Either way, half of the information was stolen, Megatron added. You don't get a say in this. Aaron shouted as he slammed the door shut. Aaron noticed that Megatron was looking at him like he had a third eye. Are you threatening me? Aaron, I think you should go, Hanji declared as she stood up and walked over to him. No, mad scientist, let's see what the Prime's pet has to say, Megatron said with a smirk on his face. Pet. Aaron growled as he lunged for the ex-con, but Hanji pulled him back. Can we please not do this right now? Hanji pleaded before looking at Eren, and stop trying to get yourself killed. I'm not a pet, you bastard. Eren declared. The way you follow Optimus around refutes that, Megatron retorted. I swear I'll dash. You'll what? Megatron challenged as he stood up, transform into a Titan and kill everyone in this stone castle? Are you really that blind in rage you would sacrifice your own comrades? Besides, that flimsy form wouldn't even last a second against me. I'll kill you. Just you watch, Eren declared, I'm not some weak child. Megatron chuckled as he leaned over to Eren's level. Oh, but you are. You wouldn't have lasted a second against the Armored One if Optimus and I weren't there. You would have been captured right about now. And don't forget, I've been fighting a lot longer than you. You wouldn't stand a chance. I hate you, Eren hissed. You hate me because you know I'm right, Megatron declared as he straightened himself out. No, Eren retorted. Megatron raised an eyebrow as he looked back. So you have an unreasonable anger towards me? I haven't done anything wrong to you or your friends. Fear, I understand. Look, Eren's just being a little shit because he's going through puberty, Hanji interrupted. Don't defend him, Megatron ordered, I know rage when I see it. Now tell me, why do you hate me so much? Eren don't fucking answer dash. Because you made Optimus suffer, Eren declared. A dead silence filled the room. Hanji's eyes went back and forth from Eren and Megatron, waiting for something bad to happen. Eren, on the other hand, felt an aching feeling drop in his stomach when Megatron's amused expression turned into one of anger. I made Optimus suffer, Megatron remarked in an ominous tone. Well, that is something that I won't deny, but your ignorance has truly led you to believe that Optimus was the only one that suffered out of the both of us. But since you want me to enlighten you in order to satisfy that foolish bloodlust of yours, I will. I did destroy Cybertron, I killed millions of beings, both Cybertronian and human. I am responsible for creating chaos throughout the universe and causing the revival of Unicron. Does that satisfy you? Eren didn't respond out of fear. Megatron gritted his teeth as his response and grabbed his face and forced Eren to look him dead in the eye. Does that satisfy your tongue, boy? Megatron demanded. Hey, we should stop before everyone wakes up, Hanji cut in again. You will stay out of this, Megatron hissed as he glared at her. Hanji ended up raising her hands in surrender before backing away. Megatron grabbed Eren's shirt collar and brought him to his face. But it only matters about Optimus and how he feels. It doesn't matter that Optimus sided with the Council, the same government that subjugated my people into disgusting conditions and manual labor. The Council that let us die without a second thought while they sold our parts. It doesn't matter that Optimus used me to take the title of Prime for himself. It doesn't matter that Optimus betrayed our movement, my trust for power. Bullshit. Eren retorted. The only reason that you consider it as such is because you have an emotional attachment to him. Megatron declared as he dropped Eren, you adore him. And while Optimus has actually been helping humanity, you are nothing more than dead weight trying to pluck at straws. I've helped humanity more than you. Eren countered. By moving a rock. Bravo. Megatron mocked as he slowly clapped. Optimus could have easily moved something like that twice his size. He's been helping killing Titans and actually capturing Lionheart. I'm not even here for a day and I managed to kidnap that pathetic creature you call humanity's greatest threat. That doesn't mean you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart. Eren retorted. That may be true, but doesn't excuse the fact that you've done nothing to help humanity move forward or even pose as a threat to your enemies. Megatron declared, I consider Prime's 3 human children more of a threat than you. You can't use your powers correctly, you don't know where you received it, and you have to be saved by Optimus or some other human. You were never humanity's hope. Optimus is. Everything special about you came out of a bottle. You are just as worthless as any other human on this miserable rock, and your existence will amount to nothing. Eren finally snapped and tried to punch Megatron in the face, but Megatron caught the arm and twisted it before shoving Eren in the wall. Hanji tried to intervene, but Megatron grabbed her collar and moved her aside. But if you truly want to know why I did what I did, why I've become a monster, why Optimus and I hate each other so much, Look at both sides of the story. Then come up with your own conclusion. Aaron stumbled with his footing as the hollow form let go and disappeared from his sights. Aaron took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down as Levi kicked the door open. What happened? Levi demanded as he pulled out a knife. Where's Four Eyes? Levi heard a whining noise and saw Hanji on the ground in a ball quietly screeching. He then grabbed Aaron by the ear. Explain to me what happened or you are going to end up like those chairs. The next day, Nifa was filling out the reports she received from Erwin while Levi and Hanji were bickering about what happened last night. After Levi and Aaron had a little chat, Levi ended up dragging him back to where the cadets were. Hanji decided to tell Optimus that they needed to talk about the plan of overthrowing the government. She noticed Megatron seemed to be ignoring the both of them, completely silent. She wasn't sure if that disturbed her or not, or whether or not he was going to snap. So what do we do about last night? Not say anything? Levi asked. That really seems like the best option right now, Hanji answered. Well, what if Buckethead does something because he's pissed off at the brat? Levi questioned. I don't think he would do anything that would piss off Optimus, Hanji theorized. Optimus is the reason that he's staying here in the first place. Damn it, you better be right, Levi scowled. The door opened as Optimus' hollow form walked in and sat down. Optimus, how'd you sleep? Hanji asked with a fake smile. Hanji, what did you say to Megatron? Optimus demanded. A dash. I'll tell you later while Four Eyes updates the recruits, Levi cut in as he sat down in a chair. Nifa. Oh, right, Nifa said as she got her papers in order. The plan will be executed today. The Reeves Company will still pretend to be on the side of the king as they hand over Aaron and Historia. We follow them to the final destination point so they can lead us to Historia's biological father, Rod Rice. Everyone on Rod Rice's side will most likely be high-ranking officials to the Fritz royal family. Erwin said to figure out if the royal family has been using another method to fight against the Titans. If not, then we arrest them and place Historia on the throne. Are you sure putting Historia on the throne is the best option? Optimus asked. She is still too young. We don't really have another option, Hanji retorted. Military command in power would be dangerous and having no ruler would lead to anarchy. But Historia has not been raised to be a ruler, Optimus countered. Monarchies usually have councils, and the council may end up being run by the Survey Corps. We'll figure that out once we get to that point, Levi declared. We just need to arm the cadets and remaining veterans in case if we get ambushed. And what of Commander Erwin? Optimus asked. If your team is caught, the monarchy will most likely go after Erwin and have him executed. If that happens, the Survey Corps may be completely finished. Hanji sighed. We were thinking about splitting you and Megatron up. You and I go and watch Erwin, make sure he's safe, while Megatron goes with Levi. No, Optimus stated bluntly. For fuck's sake, Prime, we need the resources we can get, Levi declared. If you go into Cena, people might recognize you after that Annie fiasco. No one knows who Buckethead is. He's just a rumors right now, and we can use that to our advantage. And letting him stay with what remains of the Survey Corps without any supervision might end up getting you all killed, Optimus retorted. He is a hazard. Levi sighed in irritation. Four Eyes, Nifa, get the recruits ready. Nifa gathers her papers and Hanji grabbed her by the arm and quickly pulled her out of the room. I am not doing this, Optimus declared as he stood up. You think I'm all on board with having that demon come with us? Levi questioned. I'm not exactly fond of having a casual conversation with the vessel of the devil himself, but we are running out of time. There has to be another solution to this, Optimus said. You two can't both be in the same area, Levi proclaimed. We may have more of a chance of being caught with two Titans in the same location. Hanji said it would be better if you two were in different locations. We'll be able to relay information faster. That doesn't excuse the fact that the children are going to be in danger, Optimus said. Then tell Megatron not to, Levi suggested. You think he's going to listen to humans? The only person he actually listens to is you. I don't know what he's doing, but he is trying to get you to listen. He's been trying to regain my trust, Optimus explained, but I cannot trust him. Not after everything. Levi sighed. Then let me put it this way, if you come with us, we might up killing humans. We might get ambushed and we may have to defend ourselves, and killing the enemy is the only option. Levi noticed Optimus clenching his fists but continued anyway. I know you have an oath about protecting humans, but if it comes down to it, would you be willing to kill the people you swore to protect? I would, Optimus proclaimed. But you might hesitate, Levi retorted. Megatron won't. You and I both know that. And what if Megatron does try to harm you? Optimus asked. I try to stall for time until the cadets can get to safety, Levi answered. Optimus sat down and rubbed his head in irritation. I am truly sorry for all of this. It's fine, Levi said, we just have to make do with what we have. By the way, there's something I need to tell you regarding last night. It's about Eren. Megatron grabbed another rock with his claws and flicked it down to the ravine. He watched it splash in the water before grabbing another and flinging it too. He trying to calm himself after that brat thought he had the right to tell him off. He didn't. The only one in this god-forsaken universe who has that right is Optimus. He knew that what he's done was wrong, but that Sparkling knew nothing of why he did what he did. The ex-con heard large footsteps but didn't bother to look behind him because he knew it was Optimus. What do you want? Megatron demanded. I need your help, Optimus answered. Megatron cackled as he glanced behind him. Really, you need my help? Megatron, I understand that you are upset with me, Optimus began as he sat down next to him on the ledge of the ravine. Your M-field is radiating anger and frustration. And why would you care? Megatron asked before chuckling. I mean, you've been trying to kill me. And you haven't. Optimus retorted. Fair enough, Megatron said as he grabbed another rock. So what is this thing that you want me to help you with? We are going to overthrow the current monarchy and replace it with another ruler, Optimus answered. Megatron stopped himself from throwing the rock and looked at the Prime. You want the both of us to overthrow a government? The last time we tried that we started a war. What makes you so sure that this will work this time? We will not make the same mistakes we have before, Optimus declared. We will not start another war. So this isn't about talking with the council. You will overthrow it with force this time, Megatron assumed. Optimus nodded his head, causing Megatron to chuckle. This is definitely not your style. So tell me, what do you wish for me to do? I need you to go with Levi, Optimus answered. He and his team will follow Eren and Historia's captors to Rod Reiss, the mastermind behind this government. Once you get there, you may either kill him and his team or capture him. Didn't think you'd allow me to kill humans, Megatron remarked, and what will you do? The commander needs to be guarded, and Ms. Zoe and I will do that, Optimus answered. Ms. Zoe will brief you on where you will meet up with Captain Levi before we head off. I suppose there is a condition, Megatron assumed as he looked at Optimus. Your job is to protect the Survey Corps, Optimus declared as he stood up, and you cannot harm any of them. If I find out that you have harmed any of them you'll kill me, dismantle me to prevent Unicron, and anything to prevent a third apocalyptic disaster. I get it, Megatron listed, I'll do the job. Optimus eyed Megatron as he stood up and worked on getting the dirt out of his digits. Megatron, why are you agreeing to do this? Because I have nothing else to do, Megatron answered. Listening to the silence of space loses its luster after a while. Optimus knew that Megatron was lying to him. He knew, but he didn't pry. That wasn't his issue was to make sure that the Survey Corps succeeded, or humanity was doomed. Megatron tapped fingers of the hollow form on his arm as he waited for the mad scientist outside the castle to brief him on where to meet up with the captain and his team. He wasn't exactly fond of this, but he had to do this. He had to do it for Optimus. No matter how annoying these humans were. Hanji opened the door and looked around before she walked up to the ex-warlord with her hands behind her back. Hey. About what happened with Eren, he's just a little shit and dash. Mad scientist, I am not interested in that, Megatron interrupted. Just tell me where to meet up with the team, and I'll be on my way. Okay, Hanji trailed off. You'll be going to the Stohess district. It's one of those walled towns south of the capital. Levi and a couple of others will be scouting the city and watching for signs of the government's first response transporting Eren and Historia. I told the cadets to load a sword and shield for you since you're skilled with that kind of combat. Anything else you want me to do, state it now, Megatron ordered. Hanji stuttered as she tried to deny it, but Megatron was clearly not having it. Megatron grabbed her cheeks and forced her to look at him. Spit it out. All right, I need you to test these, Hanji requested and pulled out 2 pistols. They're the new models we've been working on, but we didn't get the chance to test it. I was hoping you would dash. Because there's no repercussion if the pistol breaks on me because it won't do any permanent damage, Megatron assumed as he let her go. Pretty much, Hanji admitted, so will you do it? Megatron sighed as he snatched the 2 pistols away. I am irritated that you keep asking me to do favors. I will take that as a yes, Hanji smiled, thank you, and I'll be heading out. Megatron watched as Hanji put on her cloak before running back inside to grab her remaining item. He then looked down at the guns inside. He couldn't carry this in his alt mode. The weapons would most likely get crushed, he had to give it to someone. But who? The dwarf was clearly cautious of him and the other children feared him. Expect for one. Mikasa was currently in the horse's den getting the items ready for their mission. She loaded the cart with weapons before noticing the sword Hanji had told her to pack. Mikasa slightly unsheathed the sword and raised an eyebrow in confusion. No one used these swords anymore. Who would use this? Mikasa placed the item back in the cart before she grabbed the saddle and placed it on the horse. She began to tighten the harness, but stopped when she felt a shadow loom over her. She glanced back to see Megatron standing behind her. I thought you'd be at the Shtohess district, Mikasa remarked as she finished adjusting the saddle. Well, I had something I need to take care of, Megatron said. And what's that? Mikasa asked. Megatron showed Mikasa the 2 pistols. I need you to hold on to these until we arrive at the next location. Mikasa looked down at the 2 pistols before looking back at Megatron. Why ask me? Why not the captain? The dwarf doesn't trust me, and everyone else fears me, Megatron answered. The only one here that seems to tolerate my existence is you. Unless you have some sort of hidden hatred for me. You haven't harmed any of my friends, Mikasa said, so you can consider us on mutual terms. Megatron raised an eyebrow in amusement. Mutual terms. Then what happens if I decide to kill all of your friends? I have to fight you, Mikasa answered as she looked him in the eye. You know you can't kill me, Megatron countered. Better to die fighting than dying like a coward, Mikasa declared. Megatron chuckled, you're amusing, Ackerman. You still haven't shown me what you're capable of. Maybe you'll get to see later, Mikasa reassured as she took the pistols from his hands. Then I will see you on the battlefield, Megatron smirked as he deactivated the hollow form. Mikasa heard Megatron flying away before looking back at the sword in the cart. At least she knew who it was for now. Optimus and Hanji watched as Megatron flew off towards the Shtohess district. Hanji adjusted her 3D gear and coat before looking up at Optimus. Let's go big guy. Optimus transformed into his alt mode and Hanji jumped inside before they drove off towards Trost. Kenny and his crew arrived at the old mining operation where the Reeves Company has been harboring Eren and Historia for 2 days. He knows that the merchant was lying and was ordered to deal with him, but he needed to make sure that everything else was set before they transported the 2 back to Rod. He called for Reeves to speak in private while his crew went to check if the 2 kids were armed. So is this the part where I get paid? Reeves demanded. You merchants are always so greedy, Kenny remarked. You still don't have that supply we asked for. The rocks. There was an accident and it ended up falling down a ravine, Reeves explained. You're still unreliable even when given a job, Kenny groaned. By the way, do you know about Levi Ackerman? Levi Ackerman? Reeves questioned. First time I've heard the name, but sounds like Captain Levi of the Survey Corps. Guy's been out to kill me ever since I got those 2. Well, that midget is my pride and joy. Taught him everything he knows, Kenny admitted. Guess that the reason that I'm stuck in this situation in the first place. Before Reeves could question what he was talking about, Kenny covered his mouth and slit his throat with a knife. Kenny let his body fall to the ground as he began to bleed out. Just as you predicted, Eren and Historia were equipped with knives, his assistants informed him, the others are dead as well. What a shame, Kenny began, the Survey Corps is going rogue and killing innocent people. It is a shame indeed, she agreed. Erwin was pouring himself a drink of water in the Survey Corps District Division in Trost when Hanji and Optimus came walking in through the door. The mission is in progress, right? Erwin asked. Yep, Hanji answered, and we need to get you to a safe location. If we are really doing this, then we need to protect you if things go south. I'll go get your things. Erwin sighed as Hanji went into the other room. He looked behind him to see Optimus staring outside the window. Do you have any knowledge of why Rod wants both Eren and Historia? The only reason I can come up with is that Rod will use them for their own benefit, Optimus assumed, possibly controlling what is left of humanity. Is Berthold contained properly? Erwin asked. Berthold is contained at the core current, or now previous hideout, Optimus explained. The dark energon in his body is immobilizing him, but he may end up dying before we can yield results. Where's Megatron? Erwin asked. He is in Sino with Levi and the others, Optimus answered. Are you sure that's safe? Erwin asked. No, Optimus admitted, I do not want the Survey Corps to suffer because of my decision. Because I am unsure of what Megatron wants or why he has decided to remain here. Hanji thinks it's because of you, Erwin said. Which makes the situation worse if he decides to attack humanity, Optimus retorted. So if you use Optimus for your own selfish benefit, I guarantee that you will die, but not before you watch the rest of humanity die right before your eyes. Erwin remembered Megatron's threat before groaning, Optimus, I may not have been completely honest with you. Are you referring to the information that Ms. Zoe wrote in her notebook regarding my history? Optimus questioned, I am aware, but that is not my concern at the moment. That's not it, Erwin proclaimed, I've had a different motivation for joining the Survey Corps. Optimus looked at Erwin in confusion. What are you talking about? Before Erwin could respond, Hanji came walking back in with another soldier. Erwin, there's a problem. There's been some murder in the middle of the town. Military policemen are there right now. Murder? Optimus questioned. The government may be framing us, Erwin declared, you two need to go. Go where? What about you? Hanji demanded. I'll act as the face of the Survey Corps for right now, Erwin answered as he put on his jacket. What will happen to the Survey Corps if you are killed? Optimus asked as he stepped forward. Erwin turned his gaze to Hanji. If anything happens to me, the next commander of the Survey Corps will be you, Hanji Zoe. Hanji was in complete shock as Erwin made his way out the door and to the town square. Hanji, did you bring one of the weapons with you? Optimus demanded. Yes, Hanji answered, what do you need it for? I have already seen how this ends before, Optimus began as he phased a black coat for a replacement for his jacket. The Survey Corps will be framed and Erwin will be killed in order to silence any others who wish to start a revolution. We can't just take Erwin from the military police, Hanji retorted, that's crazy. That is exactly what I will do, Optimus declared as he put on the hood, give me the pistol and meet me at my alt mode. Erwin stood up after he reassured the town folks that Reeves would be avenged for his death, but he may not get the chance. The government already created a story that framed the Survey Corps. The only way to prove they were innocent is if the entire Corps made an appearance. He didn't know if that included Optimus or not, but he knew that the military police planned this. They planned this in order to get rid of them. Erwin, you need to get in the carriage, the policeman ordered. Erwin internally sighed. He needed to comply or the Corps would be in bigger trouble. Erwin made his way towards the carriage, feeling his steps getting heavy as he got closer. Everything that he worked for was about to go down the drain. Erwin was about to grab the door, but a loud gunshot went off and destroyed the handle. Erwin looked around with weary eyes as the entire crowd completely panicked and started running for their lives. Everyone calmed down. A policeman yelled before getting shot in the shoulder. Erwin ran over to the man and applied pressure on the wound as the other policeman was shot in leg. Listen to me. Stay calm and breathe. Erwin ordered the policeman he was with, control your breathing and you'll dash. Erwin felt something smack him in the head before he lost consciousness. Stohes District, 2 days later. The cadets were guarding the horses and supplies while the veterans were watching for any signs of the first government response transporting Eren and Historia. The cadets were waiting patiently while being weary of. Hey, does anyone else find it weird that the most powerful Titan is just casually getting ready for battle? Connie whispered. The cadets eyed Megatron as he placed the sword on his back and tightened the strap while talking in a language they couldn't understand. They weren't really sure, but he sounded agitated? A little bit, Sasha hissed. They're an advanced race, Armin retorted. He's probably speaking in his own language to Optimus, since they can communicate through long distances. What's so important that they have to speak in a different language? Connie hissed. Jean walked back to the den from the crowd nearby with a rather despondent look. He handed Armin a sheet of paper with Levi's face on it. They were passing these out. Armin read the paper and saw that it read the Survey Corps were murderers and that Erwin has been kidnapped. How did Erwin get kidnapped? Armin questioned. Why did Erwin get kidnapped? I don't know, Jean admitted, but we're all now officially outlaws. Outlawed by our own species. At least the captain won't carelessly attack the people who are after us, Armin retorted. Maybe if we play this as safe as possible, we can get the information from Rod Reiss we need in order to get Eren's skin to harden. Megatron's eye twitched in irritation and the sound of that brat's name before looking outside of the alleyway to check if there was anyone spying on them. Still, when it comes down to it, are we really going to kill people? Use violence when Levi asks us to? Jean demanded. What he did with Historia was completely uncalled for, especially after he acted so nicely to Reeves. Probably did it so she'll be easier to control when she does become ruler, Sasha added. We joined the Survey Corps to give our hearts to humanity, not become thugs, Jean hissed. By the Allspark, you children are ridiculous, Megatron drawled out in irritation as he leaned against a wooden support beam. Ridiculous? Jean questioned. We're going against our own government. The same government that wouldn't hesitate to feed you all to those creatures if it suited them, Megatron retorted. They only care for the money in their pockets, the feeling of power and control. As long as they have that, they don't care about anyone else. And would kill you all regardless of age and innocence, or make you suffer in a much more gruesome way. Like you've done for 4 million years. Jean spat out. Yes, Megatron bluntly stated, that's why I'm able to see inside their heads and not think so narrow-mindedly. Ask Optimus. He knows just as well as I that this coup d'état isn't going to work. What are you talking about? Armin asked. Discussing a treaty or compromise isn't going to work because you have nothing to offer them, Megatron explained, and having only a dozen soldiers overthrow a government won't be enough because the media is twisting the truth. Everyone blindly puts their trust into something that makes them feel secure. So do we just somehow overthrow the government and replace it with something else entirely? Jean exclaimed, that's ridiculous. It's the best solution, Megatron declared, just because a system is there, doesn't mean it's the best for the people. They need something better. And what would that be, Tin Can? Sasha demanded. Fear. Hope, Megatron stated as he stood up, give the people a chance to believe in a better tomorrow. A little cliché for someone like me, but it is unfortunately true. Ackerman, the gun. The cadets watched in disbelief as Mikasa grabbed one of the pistols from the cart and causally threw it to him. The ex-con caught it before placing it under his sleeve. Once you start hearing gunfire, make sure to head for the nearest exit, Megatron addressed Mikasa. Mikasa nodded her head as Megatron climbed over the den and onto the rooftop before disappearing from their sights. Mikasa, what the hell? Jean exclaimed, you just gave the guy a gun. He can kill us without one, Mikasa reminded. That's not the point. Mikasa, why are you trusting him so easily? Jean demanded, you tried to kill Optimus the moment you saw him, and you're suddenly just casual with the guy who took down the colossal titan. Wouldn't it be better to make friends with someone like that instead of giving him more of a reason to hate us? Mikasa rhetorically asked. Jean was about to retort, but realized Mikasa had a point and closed his mouth. I'm still being careful, Mikasa proclaimed, but showing Megatron that humanity is worth something may give him more of a reason to stay and fight. But he's killed humans before, Armin retorted. he fought Optimus for control over a world full of humans and nearly killed them all. He could have killed us, but he didn't, Mikasa countered. That's some sign that Megatron isn't entirely crazy. Either way, we don't exactly have any other option. The cadets looked at each other and groaned while Sasha commented, "Our lives fucking suck." Nifa watched through the telescope as 2 coffins were being loaded into a carriage. That's Eren and Historia alright, unless the first squad is a thing for sleeping with corpses. Levi observed as Nifa continued to spy on them when he heard a thump behind him. Levi quickly grabbed his blade but stopped when he saw Megatron's hollow form sit down behind the chimney. "You have good reflexes," Megatron commented. Levi groaned in irritation. "Why aren't you on another roof?" "Because you're apparently not expendable," Megatron answered as he showed Levi the paper. "You have more value than the commander." "Makes it more difficult to show my face," Levi added as Megatron crumbled up the paper and threw it off the roof. "I'm assuming it troubles you that I'm not Optimus," Megatron remarked. "I don't care if you're Optimus," Levi proclaimed, "I care about your motive. Even when you don't seem to be killing, you've got some secret motive you won't bother to share with anyone. And why should I share that motive with a dwarf like you?" Megatron demanded. "Because this dwarf is going to take out your eyes if you try anything stupid," Levi hissed as he pulled out his blade and shoved it in Megatron's face. This didn't impress the warlord as he pushed the blade away. "I've already experienced death, your threat means nothing to me." Levi grimaced, putting his blade away and watching the cart. He had to focus on the task right now. Megatron wasn't trying anything, so he could focus his mind in the right place. The ex-con eyed the cart beginning to move when he heard someone step on the roof. Megatron widened his eyes when he saw the man was equipped with 3D gear, aiming his guns at both Levi and Nifa. He quickly moved to action and grabbed Levi while kicking Nifa away from them. Levi was about to elbow Megatron, but gasped when he saw something blue pass his eyes. Levi looked down at the ground to see Nifa had fallen off the roof. She seemed bruised, but was still alive. Levi grunted as Megatron pulled him behind the chimney when another shot was aimed at the both of them. The captain heard a scream and saw 2 of the remaining veterans shot off of the roof. Levi stared in complete horror as their bodies seemed to be eaten away as Megatron pulled out the pistol. "Hey, Levi," a voice called out as Megatron saw the man hook himself onto the chimney with a grappling hook. "Look how you've grown." Levi gritted his teeth as the man flew into the air and aimed his weapon at the both of them. "On second thought, it doesn't seem like you've changed much," the man said. "Kenny!" Levi shouted as he unsheathed his blades. Deleted scene. Eren and Historia sat in the wagon as they were being transported to an old mining operation where they would be taken to Rod Rice. Eren twiddled his thumbs while Historia had sweat dripping down her face. He made a huge mistake. He just got caught up in the moment and might have jeopardized the possibility of freeing humanity by telling Megatron off. He was complying, he could have killed him but he didn't do it. But could Megatron have left because me might have proven some claim that humans weren't worth protecting? That was his ideology. His belief. Optimus was right. He kept on letting his anger get to the best of him. Eren stepped out of the room after Levi had given everyone orders to get ready for the mission. He bumped into Optimus' hollow form, lifting his head to see Optimus giving him a disapproving look. "Optimus, what are you doing here?" Eren asked. "I need to speak with you," Optimus stated, "in private." Eren felt uneasy as he followed Optimus into the room where Eren encountered Megatron. He noticed that the broken chairs were discarded of. Optimus closed the door behind him and crossed his arms. Eren knew Optimus was upset with him, but decided to try and play dumb. "So what did you want to talk with me about? What did you say to Megatron?" Optimus demanded. Eren's heart stopped as he tried to lie. "I didn't say anything." "Don't lie," Optimus ordered. "Levi told me what happened. What you said to Megatron. How you said he made me suffer." "Eren, I told you to stay away and you didn't listen." "He didn't stay away," Eren retorted. "He was casually having a conversation with Hanji." "You could have told me." Optimus shouted. "You could have told me and I would have taken care of it. You put yourself in harm's way out of foolishness." "It wasn't. I was doing something," Eren retorted. You could have made the situation worse. Optimus declared as he grabbed Eren by his shoulders, you could have been killed because you chose not to think and let your emotions get in the way. Optimus Eren stuttered. This isn't your issue to deal with. It is mine. Optimus declared, you are not strong enough to face him and you are not strong enough to kill him. There is a reason that I have been fighting him for so long. So long. Eren, I am begging you, do not do something that foolish again. But it is for your own safety, please, Optimus begged as he let go of Eren's shoulders. Eren grimaced while Optimus made his way towards the door. He had to ask what Megatron said to him about Optimus taking the title of Prime. What Megatron said to me, did you take the title of Prime out of greed? Eren asked. Optimus' hand barely touched the handle as he stopped. Eren, I never wanted the title of Prime. I was just unable to refuse the Council's orders. Optimus. Eren called out as he noticed his hand slightly shaking. Get ready for the mission, Optimus ordered as he opened the door and deactivated the hollow form. Chapter 19, Coup d'etat Part 3. Erwin groaned as he slowly opened his eyes. He sat up and rubbed his eyes before noticing that he was sitting on something smooth and moving. Where was he? Hey, bushy brows, glad to see you're awake, a familiar voice remarked. Erwin looked to his right to see Hanji sitting next to him in a smooth seat holding a wheel, with the Autobot symbol on it. Hanji, what the hell is going on? Erwin demanded as he moved forward, only to be stopped by a seat belt keeping him in place. We kidnapped you, Hanji answered. Well, Optimus did. Erwin examined his surroundings and realized he was in the interior of Optimus Alt mode. He noticed a screen that displayed some location next to the wheel before hearing some whining behind him. He looked behind his chair to see Reeves' son crying in the back seat in a fetal position. Oh, we also grabbed him too, Hanji added. Optimus, I gave you an order, Erwin spoke as he turned to the radio, what the hell are you doing? Disobeying your orders, Optimus merely answered. This isn't a game, Erwin declared, I need to be the face of the Survey Corps. And you still are, Optimus declared, the people believe that you have been kidnapped, and the Survey Corps are not under suspicion at the moment for the murder. This can buy us some time. I was supposed to go to the capital. Erwin shouted. Optimus screeched to a stop, causing everyone to jerk forward and for Reeves' son to hit his head on the back of Erwin's chair. Hanji groaned as she rubbed her head. A little warning next time would be nice. If you handed yourself over willingly to the government, they would have you tortured and killed. Optimus exclaimed to Erwin, staging a kidnapping has bought the Survey Corps some time to figure out the situation without having your life in danger. Hanji was supposed to be in charge if anything happened to me, Erwin explained. Your numbers are already as few as it is, Optimus countered, I do not know what you believe, but there are people who still rely on you. Erwin was about to retort, but thought it over. The Survey Corps numbers were few compared to the military police. He had no idea how his supposed kidnapping would affect the plan, but he couldn't do anything about it now. So where are we going now? Erwin asked. Back to our previous hideout, Hanji explained, we can't leave Berthold unattended and we can't stay in Trost because we might get caught. Optimus is hoping we can find a way to slow the Dark Energon in his systems long enough to get more information out of him. We still don't know why Rice wants Eren, but Berthold may be the only one that has some idea. Erwin stared at Hanji as he leaned back into his seat. He then narrowed his eyes at the screen on the dashboard and gulped. So back then, Optimus shot them. He shot humans and probably killed them. Optimus went against his moral code. Kaboom! Kenny shouted as he fired another round of his ammunition. Megatron grabbed Levi and pulled him around the chimney before sliding a little down the roof. Levi covered his head as the shot hit the chimney and some debris flew in front of him. Who is that? Megatron demanded as he glanced over to see Kenny disposing of one of the shells. Kenny Ackerman, Levi hissed as he pushed himself up, one of the most notorious criminals of the underground. I don't know what the hell he's doing here. Any known weaknesses would be splendid to know. Megatron shouted as Kenny fired another round near his face. I don't know, Levi grimaced. Megatron looked at Levi before growling. Of course. You humans are too slagging incompetent. Just get that other human and go. Levi watched as Megatron pulled out his sword and ran for Kenny. He was going to go after him, but saw that the cart was moving. Levi looked down the roof to see Nifa getting up. Nifa, go get the kids. Levi ordered before going after the cart with Aaron and Historia. Megatron skidded across the current roof his was on before jumping for the one that was in front of him. He then leaned towards his left as Kenny fired another shot at him. As Kenny tried to reload, Megatron twirled and nearly chopped the killer's head off. Kenny bent backwards and regained his footing before aiming the weapon at Megatron's chest. Megatron blocked the attack with his sword, leaving a black mark and a dent on his sword and some burns on his hands. Kenny cackled. "Oh, this is interesting. I didn't think you Survey Corps would rush into danger like that." Megatron saw the blue dust on his hand and shook it off before it made the hollow form any worse. "I didn't expect the military police to carelessly attack in broad daylight." "Well, we can always blame the Corps," Kenny shrugged as he glanced behind him. "I mean, that's what I did to the midget." Megatron glanced over to Levi heading towards the cart. The ex-con saw that Kenny was going to shoot him, but Megatron rushed him and grabbed his arm and twisted it. Kenny responded by head-butting him, causing the warlord to stumble back a little. Megatron quickly recovered and cracked his neck while glaring at the man. "You must be real stupid if you think you can stop me without 3D gear," Kenny remarked. Megatron chuckled as he twirled the sword in his hand. "Believe me, I don't need that garbage to kill you." Before Kenny could react, Megatron rushed him and punched him in the face. Kenny stumbled back as Megatron was about to stab him in the chest. The Ackerman quickly reacted and launched himself backwards. Megatron dashed towards the man, startling him before he launched himself in the air. Kenny slightly gasped in surprise as Megatron jumped into the air and tackled him into the roof. Meanwhile, Levi rushed towards the cart carrying the two kids, but he was beginning to lose ground and fast. Things weren't made any easier when a gunshot flew past his head. He looked back to see 4 men in the same 3D equipment Kenny had. Levi managed to maneuver around the shots fired at him as one of them hit the side of a wall. The debris hit his shoulder, causing him to grunt in pain before he flew out of their line of sight. Levi looked behind him to see if they were still there, but turned around and saw an open bar. He hooked his gear before flying towards it and crashing through the door and landing on the counter table. Levi noticed everyone was staring at him as he wiped the blood from his shoulder and cheek. If the kids don't get to the carriage, then they might have to abandon Historia and Aaron altogether. He then remembered something: he forgot to get the fucking Decepticon. Megatron rolled out of the way as Kenny jumped into the air and fired 2 rounds at him. Kenny fired his grappling hook at the former warlord. Megatron dodged the attack before grabbing the line and yanking it. Kenny crashed into the roof before managing to force himself upwards. He looked up to see Megatron jump into the air and position his sword, but Kenny managed to roll out of the way as Megatron's sword pierced the roof. Megatron slashed at Kenny, making a cut on his upper arm as he stumbled back. Kenny chuckled as he held onto his arm. "Gotta admit, you're pretty good, swordsman. Got a name?" "A name won't matter when I kill you," Megatron declared as he pointed his sword at Kenny. "Guess it won't when you die too," Kenny smirked. Megatron turned around to see 3 soldiers equipped with the same 3D gear leap out of their hiding places and aim their guns. Megatron sighed in irritation before pulling out the pistol and firing 3 rounds at each of their heads. They all fell to the floor as Megatron deadpanned at Kenny. "What? Guys gotta try," Kenny shrugged. Megatron aimed the pistol and pulled the trigger, but the gun wasn't firing. Megatron tried again as Kenny looked at him in confusion. "Aren't you supposed to kill me right now?" Kenny demanded as Megatron examined the gun. The med scientist didn't test the gun properly. Megatron shouted in anger, "You know what, to hell with this." Megatron dashed toward Kenny and kicked him off the roof. Kenny grunted as he crashed in an alleyway on wooden boxes. Megatron walked away from the edge of the roof and towards one of the dead men. He took one of their ammunition rounds from the pockets and popped open the lid. He poured out the contents into his hand, and felt his anger rise when he realized what it was: energon. "Those blasted humans," Megatron sneered as he crushed the energon in his hand. He threw the shell aside before taking 2 extra rounds with him. Once all of this was said and done, he needed to report this back to Optimus. Megatron jumped onto another roof and noticed the cart was heading towards the gate. He turned his head to see the children making their way towards it with 10 other soldiers tailing them. "Help the humans," I thought, Megatron said as he ran after them. "It might be different," I thought. Armin ducked as another shot was fired at his head. The children then startled the people as they passed through the gate and made a sharp left to elude the police. Levi flew through the gate as he chased down the 10 soldier. After he crashed into the bar, he managed to elude a few of the police by throwing a chair out the window and using one of their bodies as a shield to kill the rest. He was going to try and get that damned Buckethead from Kenny, but he saw the children being chased and had no choice but to go after them. He just hoped that he would be able to keep up. Levi managed to cut off 2 of their heads before signaling for the kids to turn left. The kids quickly followed after getting over their shock. They turned left down the street, startling a few people that were passing by. Levi took a shortcut down an alleyway and spotted the cart before landing not so gracefully behind Armin. "Captain, are you all right?" Armin asked. "Could be better," Levi responded as he wiped the blood from his forehead. "We can't go after Aaron and Historia like this. We have to abandon them for now." The children looked at Levi in confusion and anger. He wanted them to abandon their friends. "Captain, we might not be able to track them down again," Mikasa retorted. "We'll find a different way," Levi declared as he wiped the remainder of the blood, "depending if we can get out of this situation alive. For right now, we need to defend the cart. Mikasa, I need you to dash." "Holy shit!" Connie exclaimed as he looked behind him. Everyone turned to see Megatron running on the roof towards the military police before pulling out his sword and throwing it, beheading 2 out of the 10 soldiers. The sword pinned a third one to the ground, causing him to cry out in pain. The 7 remaining began to fire at Megatron as he easily dodged the bullets. As they tried to reload, Megatron jumped and tackled the one closest to him to the ground. This caused 3 of them to turn around and go after Megatron while the remaining 3 went after the core. Megatron broke the neck of the man he tackled before taking the loaded weapons and firing it at 2 of the men. Their bodies dropped to the floor and began to disintegrate as the third one rushed towards him. Megatron merely grabbed the man's arm before throwing him against a brick wall. The ex-con then grabbed his sword from one of the corpses and dashed towards the fleeing children. Levi grimaced as the remaining 3 were closing in on them. "Mikasa." Mikasa nodded her head before the 2 charged towards them. Mikasa dodged one of the bullets fired at her before stabbing one of them square in the chest while Levi beheaded the other. The final one was about to fire at Mikasa, but he screamed in pain as a sword went straight through his chest. The body fell to the floor as Megatron quickly pulled the sword out and continued towards the cart. Mikasa flew back towards her horse while Levi landed on the cart. Megatron managed to jump onto the moving cart before placing his sword back into the hilt. The ex-con noticed most of the Survey Corps looking back at him with shock and fear and gave an irritated look. "What?" Megatron demanded. Armin turned his attention ahead as he tightened his grip onto the rein of the horses pulling the cart. This was the strength Megatron had. Not even a moment's hesitation, he decided to kill those people. Maybe that was why Megatron was here instead of Optimus, because he wouldn't hesitate to kill humans. Levi glanced to his right and noticed someone as the cart moved down the street. He quietly gasped as 3 more soldiers in 3D gear appeared and started tailing. "Everyone, get down!" Levi shouted as the 3 began to fire. The children ducked their heads, the bullets flew past them. Meanwhile, Megatron picked up the shield in the cart and shielded himself. Megatron looked over his shield and noticed 5 more were flying towards them, including Kenny Ackerman. Megatron growled in anger as he pulled out his blood-stained sword once more. He tightened his grip as a few aimed their guns at him directly. "Fire!" Kenny ordered as they all pulled the trigger. As the bullets flew, Megatron raised his shield once more and blocked them before using his sword to deflect the bullets, even cutting them in half. Mikasa and Levi once more jumped from their positions and began to draw some of their fire away. 3 of the soldiers managed to go around the 2 Ackermans and get closer to the cart. Gene grabbed a rifle on the cart and fired, but ended up missing the person he wanted to stop. Gene looked down at his hands as he noticed they shaking. Damn it, he needed to focus. Megatron noticed two of the soldiers heading straight towards him as they tried to land on the cart. Megatron dodged a kick from one of the soldiers before cutting his throat and kicking him to the ground. He was about to attack the other one, but the soldier managed to fire directly at his sword. The sword wasn't able to take the force of the impact and the blade shattered. Megatron simply ignored that as he threw the hilt aside and grabbed the man by the throat before crushing his windpipe. Jean felt like he was about to throw up at the sight before jumping as a female soldier crashed onto the cart. Jean positioned his rifle straight to her head. "Don't move!" Jean shouted, but the girl merely knocked the rifle out of his hand and aimed her own weapon at him. "Jean!" Mikasa shouted as she tried to get to the cart fast enough. Jean felt his heart stop as he noticed the girl looking at him with fear and hesitation. But before she could pull the trigger, a bullet went straight through her skull. Jean looked over to see Megatron holding another pistol in his hand. The ex-con watched the body collapse and fall off the cart before turning his attention to Jean. Jean grunted as Megatron punched him in the face before grabbing him by the collar and bringing him to his face. "You better focus, boy," Megatron shouted. Megatron let go of Jean's collar and blocked another shot fired at him. Kenny managed to aim his last shot at Megatron's leg. Megatron grunted as he kneeled down and placed the shield in front of his left leg. Jean noticed the leg glitching and losing its shape. "Armin, what do we do?" Jean exclaimed as Armin looked back to see the leg unable to maintain its form. Megatron grimaced at his leg before noticing the flare gun next to Jean. He then pulled out one of the rounds he hid in his coat and grabbed the flare gun. Megatron threw the round of energon towards the remaining soldiers and pulled the trigger on the flare gun. The ammunition from the flare gun hit the round dead on, causing an explosion followed by black smoke. Mikasa and Levi managed to dodge the explosion while the soldiers who were caught in the blast fell to the ground and began writhing in pain from the burns on their bodies. The cadets watched in horror while some were having a mixed sense of relief. They were witnessing what was practically torture against their own kind and they were feeling relief. Megatron's hollow form abruptly disappeared as the other round and pistol he was holding cluttered on the cart. Levi merely ignored that and instructed the teens to turn left. He needed to focus on getting them to safety for the moment. Meanwhile, Kenny and another soldier managed to survive the blast as they landed on the roof. Kenny wiped the blood coming from his mouth while his subordinate looked down at the now deceased soldiers. "We need to be more careful with this new weaponry," she stated. That man managed to get his hands on it and created a deadly explosion. Kenny brushed away the smoke that was floating towards his face. "Yeah. That newcomer seems to know a thing or two about this blue stuff, and there are still members of the Corps still alive. Either way, we got what we needed. Let's just threaten someone to cover up the mess." His assistant nodded her head as she jumped down from the roof to see if there were any policemen still alive. Kenny's eyes drifted towards the moving cart. There was definitely something up with that swordsman. Optimus arrived at the hideout with Mobility waiting for them on top of the roof. Hanji, Erwin, and Reeves' son climb out of the car as Mobility jumped off the roof and landed on the ground with his 3D gear. "Commander," Mobility greeted with a salute, "are you all right?" "I'm fine," Erwin answered. "Things got complicated. We're going to have to find out a different strategy for the moment," Hanji declared. "Optimus kind of kidnapped Erwin, so we're going to have to improvise." "What is the condition of Berthold?" Erwin demanded. "Not well," Mobility sighed. "I don't think he has much longer to live." The three of them heard a static noise and turned to see Optimus' hollow form appear. "May I speak with him?" Optimus asked. Berthold sat on the bed in his cell and removed his shirt to study the infection spreading throughout his body. The dark scar had almost completely covered his arm and looked like it was ready to reach his shoulder. The Titan shifter lightly touched the arm before retracting his hand back. Was this it? Was he fated to die in some cell without returning home? Would he never see the sunlight again? Would he not see Reiner and Annie again? Berthold held his tongue as his arm began to hurt, pulsating as the dark scar moved to consume his shoulder. "Berthold Hoover, we need to talk," a voice spoke. Berthold jolted in fear as he grabbed his shirt to cover up his arm. He looked outside his cell to see Optimus Prime's hollow form looking at him. "What do you want?" Berthold hissed. "Your help," Optimus answered, Eren has been kidnapped by Historia's father. You are the only one that holds the secrets to the Titans, and we need to know why Rice would possibly want Eren. How am I supposed to help you with that? Bertholdt demanded, and why would I help you? Because of you, I'm dying. Optimus sighed. I understand that, but you must understand that I wouldn't intend for this. Bertholdt scoffed as he laid down on the bed. That's a lie. You nearly killed Zeke and were willing to kill Reiner. You were willing to wipe out humanity, Optimus retorted. I may not have wanted to harm you, but I was doing my job and protecting the humans here. They aren't worth protecting. Bertholdt exclaimed as he sat up, they're children of the devil. Then why did you continue to stay even after you broke down the wall the first time? Optimus demanded. Bertholdt turned away from the Titan. I was simply given orders. From who? Optimus demanded. Bertholdt didn't answer the Prime, causing said Prime anger to rise. From who? Optimus repeated. Bertholdt, do not make this harder than it needs to be. I will force the information out of you if I have to. There's no point, Bertholdt explained, no matter what you do, I'm already dying. So I might as well take the secret to my grave. Optimus took a deep breath and sighed. So be it. You may stay and rot in this cell, but understand that you will only be remembered for two things as your body slowly withers away. You are a destroyer of humanity, and you have failed whoever you are serving. Bertholdt grimaced as he heard Optimus' footsteps leave his cell. It looked like he really was going to die in here. Optimus was about to exit the basement of the castle, but he stopped when he saw Hanji and Erwin waiting at the exit. We heard, Erwin remarked. Optimus sighed in irritation. If Bertholdt dies, then we have chance knowing how to defeat the Titans. This is all my fault. Hanji looked at him in confusion. Optimus, how is this your fault? You've been helping us. Because I didn't kill Megatron when I had the chance, Optimus answered, if only I had killed Megatron before he infused his spark with Dark Energon. Optimus, you couldn't have known the dangers that came with Megatron's decision, Erwin retorted, and that was his choice, not yours. But I could have prevented it, Optimus emphasized. I had so many opportunities to end that Forsaken war. I could have prevented the war from happening if I did not accept the title of Prime. If I did not accept it then, Bertholdt would not be dying a slow death, the children's lives would not be in danger. Cybertron wouldn't have died, I wouldn't be stuck on this twisted planet. Realizing what he had just said, Optimus quickly shut his mouth and saw Hanji and Erwin looking at him in genuine surprise at his outburst. I apologize, Optimus quietly said, I need time alone. Optimus quickly deactivated the hollow form and Erwin and Hanji looked at each. He's not doing well at all, Hanji remarked, think we should talk to him. It's probably best not to, Erwin decided, he's not in a right state of mind and may need some time to relax. Now we need to discuss an alternative to what I was planning. Hanji looked at Erwin in confusion. Planning? Armin was taking deep breaths as he tried to calm the unsettling feeling in his stomach. He was leaning against a tree as Mikasa walked over to him. Armin, are you okay? Mikasa asked as she rubbed his back. Armin slightly laughed as he wiped his mouth. I guess not. I never felt so sick after what I saw today. How could he just kill so easily? How could you kill so easily? Mikasa was startled by Armin's question. How was she supposed to answer? Sorry, Armin apologized, I shouldn't have asked something like that. I'm just going to continue to stay here. Mikasa simply nodded her head as she grabbed her rifle and made her way back to the cabin. She was about to step inside, but stopped when she heard something clatter in the cart behind the abandoned cabin. Mikasa stepped as quietly as possible, making sure not to step on any twigs or leaves. She managed to reach the corner and pulled out the rifle on her back. She turned the corner and aimed the rifle, but slightly gasped in surprise as she was met with a pistol aimed at her head. Mikasa noticed that it was Megatron who was holding the pistol while he casually rummaged through their supplies. She still kept the rifle aimed at him, but the Decepticon didn't seem to notice. If I pulled the trigger right now, you would have been dead, Megatron proclaimed. Mikasa watched as he pulled his hand back and aimed the pistol at the sky. He pulled the trigger, but the gun merely clicked with no shot ringing out. Unfortunately, the mad scientist doesn't know how to work a gun, Megatron grumbled as he threw the pistol back in the cart. That might have helped me with that human in the hat. I'm sorry, Mikasa apologized as she lowered her rifle, I thought you were someone else. You acted accordingly, Megatron declared as he stopped and looked at her, which is a good quality. For a moment, I did believe you were all talk until I saw you kill one of the soldiers earlier. I must say that I am impressed. Everyone else is still spooked by what you did, Mikasa declared. Are you? Megatron asked. Mikasa thought about it for a moment, remembering the screams of the military police burning alive. It was a little brutal to kill someone like that. Megatron hummed at her answer as he went rummaging through their supplies again. At least you're honest. What are you doing anyway? Mikasa asked. I picked up something of importance during the battle, Megatron answered as he picked up the shell round from before. The explosion I created earlier wouldn't have caused burns on those humans. Megatron popped open the shell and dumped out the contents. Mikasa gasped as Megatron showed her the raw energon in his hand. This is why I don't trust humans, Megatron declared as he raised the contents to her face. I don't understand, Mikasa said, I thought energon harmed humans. Well, whoever made these weapons clearly knew what they were doing, Megatron declared as he placed the energon back in the container before closing. We can still use this as a weapon. Just make sure that no one touches it. Okay, Mikasa nodded her head as Megatron placed the container back in the cart and picked up the damaged shield. You lost your sword. I'll make do, Megatron declared, I've lost limbs before, this isn't a complication. Megatron placed the shield back in the cart before recalling Kenny from the battle. More specifically, his last name. Ackerman, Megatron began, have you ever met someone or heard of the name, Kenny Ackerman? I've never heard someone else with the name Ackerman before, Mikasa admitted. Megatron turned to look at her. Is that right? Mikasa nodded her head. My father mentioned the Ackermans being discriminated, but I don't think that he knew why. My family lived in Wall Maria because of that name. Megatron didn't say anything as he looked down to see his hand losing shape. He shouldn't have activated his hollow form so soon. I need to leave, Megatron informed, you should continue keeping watch. You are in enemy territory after all. Wait, Mikasa began as Megatron almost deactivated his hollow form, I wanted to say thank you, for saving my friends. Megatron looked her dead in the eye. I didn't do it for you, I was simply given orders. Mikasa watched as Megatron's hollow form disappeared from her sights before placing her rifle on her back once more. Why would Megatron ask her about her last name? And who was Kenny? Mikasa merely shook her head. That didn't matter, she just hoped that Eren was safe. Eren's vision adjusted to the lighting of the room as Kenny opened his coffin. Rise and shine Jaeger, Kenny said as Eren sat up. The Titan shifter noticed that his hands were bounded by a straitjacket and his mouth was still muffled. Where was he? Where were the others? Where was Historia? All he knew was that he was in some warehouse and he didn't know what day or time it was. Eren saw another coffin being opened by a man who lost like Historia. The man removed Historia's bounds as she sat up before removing the muzzle on her mouth. Eren noticed her giving a death glare at the man before everything clicked. That was Historia's father Rod Reiss. The one who started this mess, and the one who left Historia to die. The man was dangerous, meaning they both had to be extremely careful. Eren's first assumptions of Rod were discarded when Rod hugged Historia with a pained face. Historia, I missed you so much, Rod declared. Eren noticed Historia's anger fading away into shock as tears rolled down her cheek. What? He thought Historia's father intentionally abandoned her because she was an illegitimate child. So then why did? Father, Historia spoke, causing Rod to let her go and put his hands on his shoulders. Historia, I am truly sorry for what I did. I promise that I will make it right, Rod declared. Historia didn't say anything, clearly still in shock over her father's actions. Rod Reiss then turned to look at Eren, causing him to feel uncomfortable. Get him ready, Rod ordered. Get me ready for what? Eren thought, but felt someone hit him on the back of the neck, knocking him out cold. Eren. Historia exclaimed as two soldiers carried Aaron away. Dad. Historia, it's all right, Rod reassured, it's going to be all right, just trust me. I'll explain everything to you. Historia hesitated for a moment before nodding her head. A female soldier then walked up to her and grabbed her by the arm before guiding her to another room. Rice, how long is this going to take? Kenny demanded as he walked up to him. Hopefully, not too long, Rice declared, the power will return to its rightful owner and peace will be restored. And what about the Metal Titans? Kenny questioned before whispering, the power that you're trying to regain is not going to work against them. That Energon bullshit blew off that chick's arm and it hasn't grown back. I'm almost down with it, and I'm using her as a test subject, Rod declared. If it works, then the powers of the king can go toe-to-toe with those monsters. Later that night, Erwin was lying down on a bed in their current hideout, staring up at the ceiling contemplating the plan. He told Hanji that he had a way of framing the government and taking them down with Commander Pixis' help. This required him to go to the government, but now, everything was going wrong. Erwin heard a knock on his door and sat up as Hanji walked into the room with a paper in hand. You may want to read this, Hanji said as she handed him the paper. Attack by the Survey Corps, killing over a dozen policemen, Erwin read. Captain Levi was accompanied by the remaining members of the Survey Corps, including a swordsman dressed in gray that caused a massive explosion. Damn it. I guess this was the thing that Optimus was worried about, Hanji remarked. Did you tell him? Erwin asked. Oh yeah, because Optimus is in his right state of mind to tell him his ex is causing shit to blow up, Hanji answered. Megatron may not tell him the entire truth when Optimus contacts him, Erwin declared. I don't want to tell him though, Hanji stated. And why not? Erwin demanded. Because he's been in his caravan form for nearly 3 hours, Hanji answered. Also, I don't know how to handle Optimus when he's mad. Erwin sighed as he folded his paper and made his way to the door. I'll go talk to him. You sure? Hanji asked. He needs to know, Erwin answered as he opened the door and walked out of the room. He then made his way down the stairs and took a deep breath before opening the door and walking outside. Erwin noticed the Prime remaining dormant within his alternative form and looked down at the newspaper. He deserved to know the truth. Levi walked over to the cart and grabbed an extra set of bandages to replace the one wrapped around his right hand. The children were currently sitting around a fire while Nifa was keeping watch for any intruders. He was still unsure of where Megatron was, it was difficult to keep track. Levi suddenly heard a click and quickly grabbed a rifle in the cart and aiming it at the source. The captain didn't let his guard down until he was able to identify the figure. He put the rifle down as he noticed it was Megatron's hollow form leaning against a tree, messing with one of the prototype pistols Hanji gave them. Levi put the rifle back, and was about to walk back to the children, but stopped when Megatron spoke up. You humans have last names, correct? Megatron asked. Levi looked back at the ex-con and raised an eyebrow. What kind of stupid question is that? To be fair, having a last name on Cybertron signified that you had a high position, Megatron retorted. I am vaguely aware that last names for humans are common, Jack Darby, Mike Onakade, Raphael Esquivel dash. Get to the point, Buckethead, Levi interrupted. What is your last name? Megatron asked. Don't have one, Levi promptly answered. Guess I'm that one human who doesn't have one. I find that interesting, Megatron began as he straightened himself out, because you seem to know that Kenny fellow. You gave him a look of rage that almost mirrored Optimus Pet. He's an infamous killer from the underground, Levi retorted. I used to live there before I joined the Survey Corps. Known to kill people by slicing their throats. But it almost seems that you personally know him, Megatron continued as he walked towards Levi. Levi felt something unsettling creep into his stomach as he looked at Megatron. What are you getting at? It's rather simple, you've associated with him before, Megatron answered as he circled him, most likely before you joined the military. You having a direct association with him could have negative effects on this mission. So what if I told your team that you know this man? How you may have intentionally kept your last name a secret to prevent being traced back to this man. How would they respond? Like they would believe anything that comes out of your mouth, Levi hissed. Maybe, Megatron admitted before smirking at Levi, but hearing humanity's strongest being associated with the criminal working for the government out to kill them? Why, that would just break their hearts, and this whole mission would go up in flames because of your little secret. Levi mentally cursed. This guy was straight up blackmailing him. That must be one of the things Optimus feared. What do you want? The truth, Megatron answered. He turned his back on the captain. Why do you know this, Kenny Ackerman? I asked Ackerman earlier and she said she had no affiliation with him, so I figured I might talk to you. Just tell me the truth, and I'll consider your secret safe. And why the hell would I tell you? Levi demanded. Megatron looked back at him and grinned. I suppose I could just tell the children right now. Levi gritted his teeth before taking out a knife he held at his side and jumping at the hollow form. Levi managed to get said knife close to the Titan's neck, but Megatron grabbed his wrist while pointing the pistol he was fixing at Levi's head. I don't give a damn if you're some war criminal, I will take you down if you try anything stupid, Levi declared. Megatron chuckled. For a dwarf, you have a lot of energy, but you're making a huge error right now. Considering the fact that this form is fake and your body is real. I don't doubt that you can do some damage, but how long will it take for you to destroy this form while you're trying to recover from your own injuries? Megatron's smirk disappeared as he looked Levi dead in the eye. All I want is the truth. I was simply ordered to protect what is left of you all and overthrow the government. So I will remove anyone that may affect that plan. Including someone as valuable as you. The truth. And that is it. Levi relaxed his muscles and pulled his hand back while Megatron let Levi go and pull the gun back. Here's the short version. The man takes me in after my mother dies and I'm on the brink of death. He teaches me how to survive in the underground, how to get food, how to kill. A few years later, after I killed someone, he left behind to defend for myself, Levi explained. I was never involved with his line of work, and I never saw him again afterward. Megatron raised an eyebrow. You mean to tell me that some random serial killer takes you in and you never bother to ask why? He left me after, what was the point? Levi said. In poor conditions, everyone is forced to look out for themselves, Megatron explained. No one takes pity on another soul unless if they have some sort of strategic value, or they were of some relation. You might be related to this man, and you don't even know it. Levi was completely startled. Related? Why would I be related? How would I be related? If you were on the brink of death, the man could have easily left you behind to die, but he didn't, Megatron explained. Who would take pity on a child when everyone is out to kill you, and I noticed that you two look similar, by about 30%. That could just be coincidence, Levi retorted. I don't believe it is, Megatron proclaimed. You should think about it. Levi remained quiet as he walked back over to where the children were. Meanwhile, Megatron opened the revolver of the pistol to load it with the 6 bullets. Erwin walked over to the form and knocked on the door. Optimus adjusted the side view mirror in order to look at the man. Erwin, you should be sleeping, Optimus said. Mobility went into town and got the newspaper, Erwin explained. I felt like you should know. Know what? Optimus asked. Witnesses proclaim they saw the Survey Corps, including Captain Levi, fighting and killing off military policemen. Erwin read, reports also state a Grey Swordsman was with them, killing over 10 soldiers, some of whom were killed by an explosion that burned them alive. Erwin felt the paper snatched from his hand and turned to see Optimus intently reading the newspaper. The commander noticed pure anger in the Prime's eyes as he crumbled up the newspaper. I knew this would happen, Optimus grimaced as he threw the newspaper to the ground. Megatron does not care about stealth or coveredness. All he cares about is showing off and making a spectacle so others would fear him. Maybe he was out of options, Erwin suggested. Megatron could have easily thought of a different solution, Optimus declared. Megatron may know his way around a battlefield, but he acts like a fool. Optimus pinched bridge of the holoform's nose in irritation as he sat down on the ground. Erwin stared at him before sitting down on the ground next to him and grabbing the crumpled newspaper. I am sorry, Optimus apologized. Maybe I should have killed Megatron when he first arrived here. Then humanity would not have another enemy to worry about. You took a risk, Erwin declared. I can't tell if it's a good or bad one, but you did what you thought was best. But I could have done better, Optimus proclaimed. Why do you keep blaming yourself? Erwin demanded as he looked at the Prime dead in the eye. You have helped humanity survive. You helped plug the wall, kill Titans, give humanity an idea of where the Titans come from. Not to mention you save your home and countless other worlds. Why do you keep blaming yourself over the decisions that someone else made? Because when it comes down to it, I could have prevented the war. Optimus exclaimed as he stood up. I could have prevented the war by just not accepting the title of Prime. I don't understand, Erwin admitted as he stood up. Why would accepting a title be the cause of your war? Optimus sighed as he leaned against the truck and crossed his arms. Megatron thought I betrayed him. Erwin looked at Optimus like he was crazy. Betraying someone is not in your nature. Megatron didn't see it that way back then, Optimus explained. We were living in a caste system. I was an archivist, I was safe and secure, while the closest thing lower-class citizens had for value was having their body parts sold. They weren't considered valuable to have names, just codes. I did not have to help Megatron in his revolution to make all Cybertronians equal. When I did, everyone involved was suspicious of me. They believed that I was using Megatron to gain some sort of power. Megatron chose to trust me, anyway. And we went to the council to propose a better future. Megatron did propose violence and believe gaining the title of Prime would help gain more followers for the revolution. I proposed a method of peace because I was afraid the council would write off Megatron as a madman. The council granted me the title of Prime, which I accepted. I had never seen Megatron express so much vulnerability before. He was full of so much rage and anger. He claimed that I was using him to get to the council, to get the title of Prime. He proclaimed I never cared about the equality of Cybertronians but for my own self-interests. He thought that I sided with the council and wanted the system to stay the same. Megatron's anger was easily written off as an act of terror, especially since he killed one of the members of the council. He declared war after that. I believe because he came to a conclusion that a peace talk or treaty wasn't going to fix the system. Megatron came to an incorrect conclusion, Erwin declared. In a sense he did not, Optimus proclaimed. Every day before the war, Megatron's life was threatened. In the arena, by bosses, by the government, by everyone who had a higher position than he did. The world was his enemy, and the moment he allows himself to trust someone, that person commits an act of betrayal. If you were in Megatron's position, would you not react the same way? Erwin thought it over for a moment. He didn't know much of Megatron in order to make a judgment, but he did note a feeling of the world being against him. I suppose I would. If I had known what would come afterward, Optimus began as he hung his head, if I had known the war would have started because of me, I would have kept my mouth shut. Bumblebee wouldn't have lost his voice, Archie wouldn't have lost her partners, Ratchet wouldn't have to worry if he could save the next soul that came on his operating table. Cliffjumper and many others would still be alive, Megatron wouldn't have become corrupted, Cybertron wouldn't have been destroyed. Erwin noticed the holoform's hand ball into a fist, before looking at Optimus. You had every intention of protecting your planet and protecting the weak. Even when you fought against Megatron, you still had the interest of protecting your people and creating a better system. Megatron lost sight of that path and made the choices that put him where he is right now. Optimus merely stared at the man. He is still my greatest mistake. But his choices were not yours, Erwin declared. Optimus sighed. I suppose not, but I do wish I could have done things differently. What I've learned during my time in the Scouts is that we can't regret the decisions we have made, Erwin said. You shouldn't either. Optimus looked up at the stars. Thank you. I suppose I did need to talk about how I was feeling regarding the situation. You think you might talk about it with him and try to explain your side of the story? Erwin asked. Maybe, Optimus answered. I still am unsure if I can trust him. Erwin looked at him and thought it over. He thought about telling Optimus the truth and was about to, but was stopped when he heard static coming from Optimus alt mode. Prime, we need to talk, Erwin heard Megatron's voice through the radio. Are you there? Optimus deactivated the holoform and opened the door. I assume you wish to hear the report. The media is always twisting the truth. Erwin nodded his head before sitting down in the passenger seat Optimus alt mode. Megatron, what happened out there? Optimus demanded. This is a stealth-based mission, and you've created an explosion. I was doing my job in protecting those children, Megatron retorted. I had to improvise while I was being shot at by energon bullets. What? Erwin thought. Megatron, what are you talking about? What do you mean energon bullets? Optimus asked. Whoever was collecting the energon managed to utilize it and make it into a weapon, Megatron explained. If it was a normal weapon it would have most likely caused a smoke cover, but I used their weapons and the weapons contained energon. Rod Reiss is posing to be much more of a threat than we anticipated, Erwin thought. He managed to make weapons using energon. Something the Corps has struggled with for a month. He must have more tools necessary to accelerate his efforts. If I do run into this man, should I kill him? Megatron asked. He's a dangerous threat. Not just to the mission, but to us as well. The last time a human was obsessed with energon, he managed to use Breakdown's corpse as a means to improve himself. Whoever this Reiss person is playing a dangerous game. Optimus was silent for a moment. Capturing him may be our safest option. He still knows about the origins of the Titans, but if he does manage to put up a fight, then kill him. So be it, Megatron said. By the way, I don't trust the dwarf. Levi was his name. What are you talking about? Optimus demanded. Apparently, he has a connection with the enemy. Someone named Kenny Ackerman, Megatron explained. There's also a 30% match between the two. They may have some sort of relation. Levi has been a valued member of the Survey Corps for 6 years, Erwin spoke up. There was silence on the other end of the line. Well then, Commander, you should have been more careful with who you've chosen as an ally. I will be keeping an eye on him for the time being. Just know that someone could easily stab you in the back, no matter how many years they have served under you. Erwin heard static before the line was cut and there was only silence. I apologize for Megatron's behavior, Optimus said. Trust does not come to him that easily and he will most likely keep to his word about his suspicions of Levi. I've only vaguely heard about Kenny Ackerman, Erwin admitted. I don't know if we can find anything else that would help. We can discuss that later, Optimus stated. For now, you should get some rest. Rod Reiss spun the Titan serum, mixing it together with some of the energon he managed to melt down into a liquid form. He looked behind him to see Annie Leonhardt still passed out on the table. She looked battered and bruised as she was getting dark spots over her other hand and legs. She's going to die pretty soon, Kenny remarked. Rod got a syringe to suck up the newest Titan serum he created. Hopefully this will restore her body. It took some time to make the blue energy more compatible with the Titan serum, considering it was melting it away or breaking down the components. And now, Kenny began. This should prove to enhance the power of the Titans, Rod answered, and if it doesn't work, then that is fine as well. Her power is not the one that we need. We need Aaron's, and I would have to work more vigorously to create the perfect serum when the Metal Titan comes. Rod held Annie's head down and positioned it to where the nape of her neck was vulnerable. He punctured the needle into her neck and injected the serum. Annie's eyes snapped open as she bit down and broke the metal muzzle between her teeth. She began to scream her head off as Kenny covered his ears. What the fuck? Shut her up! Kenny yelled. Rod gritted his teeth as he let go of the syringe and held her down. Annie continued screaming as Kenny noticed her wounds regenerating. Her eyes began to glow a brighter shade of blue as the stub on her right side fully regenerated into her right arm. Shit! Kenny cursed as he grabbed a wooden beam lying on the ground and smacked her in the face with it, knocking her out. Rod let go of the Titan shifter as the wound on her face quickly regenerated, despite her not being awake. Okay, the damn thing works. Kenny exclaimed, what do we do now? A smile slowly crept on Rod's face as he began to laugh. We take back the power of the original Titan. Chapter 20, Coup d'Etat Part 4. Kenny began to reload his weaponry as Rod and the others were getting ready for the ritual to say the least. But the man was getting a little worried. Whatever was in his weapons was now inside that Annie girl. Will it kill her? Will it burn her? What happens if he tries to steal the new butchered serum and try it on himself? Would it really provide the edge needed to go against the Metal Titans? He wasn't exactly trusting Rod's judgment, unlike Yuri's. Kenny finished loading his weapon before pulling the broken hilt of the sword dropped during the pursuit of Levi and the other Survey Corps members out of his strap pocket. He's never seen or heard of that swordsman before. Especially one that would join the Survey Corps. He seemed like an outlaw. Kenny tapped the broken sword against his chin. It wasn't the Metal Titan. He knew that. He was informed the Titan's color scheme was red and blue. Not straight up gray like the other one. Wait a minute, Kenny thought. The same time that the flying Titan appeared, the swordsman showed up, and the Metal Titan was shown to have a human form. Maybe. Kenny looked down at the sword and saw his reflection. It's a suspicion for right now, nothing more, but it might possibly be true. It just probably wasn't a good idea to tell Rod, maybe not ever. Rod seemed to be slipping into madness, and he wasn't going to get the opportunity to grab the power of the Titans if he didn't. Optimus Altform was still outside of the castle as the sun rose up. The Prime adjusted his side view mirrors before deciding to transform and stretch his legs. As the Prime raised his arms over his head, he thought about Berthold and the dark energon infecting his body. He doesn't have that much time to live. He had no way of liquefying energon because he doesn't have the resources necessary. The one chance of gaining information about the Titans may be lost to them since Berthold intends to take the secret to his grave. What was he supposed to do? Finding Annie was their best option, but he doesn't know where to look. If she is kidnapped, she's most likely somewhere in Walsena with Rod Rice. The Survey Corps were too busy finding Aaron, he doesn't think they have time to find her. But maybe. Optimus shook his head. No, that was foolish. He couldn't trust Megatron. Why would he send him to find her? Optimus thought back at the boy inside. It wasn't like they had many options, and Megatron would be far away from the children. The Prime stopped stretching and opened his COMM link channel to contacted Megatron. What is it, Optimus? Megatron demanded, I'm recharging. Where? Optimus questioned. In the outermost wall, Megatron answered, I'm not a fool, Optimus. I know I'm not allowed to reveal my form to any other humans. Now why is it that you called? I am asking you to find Annie Leonhardt, Optimus answered. Optimus was met with silence on the other end of the COMM. An odd request. Berthold Hoover is running out of time because of the dark energon in his system, and he intends to take the secret to his grave, Optimus explained. The only other person who knows the secret of the Titans is her. If there is a possibility that she is even alive, we must find her. Fine, Megatron said, I'll inform the dwarf Dash. Megatron, I need you to do this on your own, Optimus declared. Again, an odd request, Megatron remarked, shouldn't the dwarf know about what you're ordering me to do? Or your commander? Optimus didn't respond to the question. You didn't tell any of them, Megatron realized before chuckling, my, not like you to keep secrets. I cannot allow the humans to be in danger, Optimus declared, and we need her. You do understand that this is their conflict, right? Megatron retorted, you can't just try to leave them out of it. I know, Optimus sighed, but Dash. Stop believing that it is your fault, Megatron ordered, that's been a terrible habit of yours. Look, I'll do it, but if I get caught, you better think of something. You can kill the humans that get in your way, Optimus said. I meant the soldiers, Megatron corrected, they are not going to be happy that I've operated on my own. Then make sure you think of something, Optimus suggested, you're no stranger to the art of deception. I am trying to leave that part behind. Megatron, Optimus began. All right, fine, Megatron hissed, I'll report back by the end of the day. Optimus heard static on the other end of the line before it went dead. Megatron was right. He should have told Erwin and Hanji about this. But why didn't he? That's not it, Erwin proclaimed, I've had a different motivation for joining the Survey Corps. What did Erwin mean by that? What other motivation could Erwin have for joining the Corps other than fighting for humanity? Does Hanji know? Does Levi know? They were the closest to Erwin. Erwin, what could you possibly be hiding? Optimus thought. Optimus. Mobility called out as he walked out of the hideout, "The commander need to talk to you about what to plan next." "I will meet you inside," Optimus informed the man. Mobility nodded his head before walking back inside. Optimus looked to the skies in the direction of Cena. He hoped to Primus Megatron wouldn't screw this up. Megatron activated his hollow form and walked towards the cart hidden behind the abandoned warehouse the Survey Corps remained in from the previous night. The ex-con looked behind the warehouse and noticed the members were not in sight. That should give him enough time to grab what he needed and go. He didn't want to deal with the dwarf. He didn't trust him and he annoyed him. Megatron rummaged through the supplies and grabbed his shield, slinging it across his back. He didn't have a sword anymore, which frustrated him to no end. He could make do without it just fine, but he was more comfortable with it than without. Megatron took the sheath of the former sword and placed it over his shoulder before placing a rifle inside the sheath. The ex-con then picked up the two pistols before placing the one that wasn't broken at his side. He opened the revolver of the one that broke during the last battle and checked to see if it was loaded. He had to make sure the gun didn't break on his during combat or get lost. If the enemy figured out about the technology, regardless of how primitive it was, it would prove to be a disadvantage. Megatron. The former warlord snapped out of his thoughts as he aimed the pistol at the sound. Megatron slightly lowered his hand as he noticed the Ackerman aiming her rifle at him. "What do you want?" Megatron asked as he lowered his arm completely. The Ackerman noticed the rifle and shield on his back. "What are you doing?" Megatron didn't look at her as he placed the pistol at his side. "Let's just say, I'm going scouting." The Ackerman lowered her rifle and placed on her back. "Why would you need to do that?" "You can see from above, right?" "I could probably do a quick scan but not get a closer look," Megatron explained, "but apparently, none of you know the layout of the area. I could get a head start and report back. Possibly find where the history girl and Prime's pet are." Megatron noticed a hint of fury in the girl's eyes but didn't say anything regarding it. "So then, I shall be on my way." "I'm going with you," the Ackerman declared. Megatron stopped in his tracks and looked back at her. "No humans allowed." "I'm not an ordinary human," the Ackerman declared. Megatron chuckled as he leaned against a tree. "The last time I heard that from a human, his most powerful device burned in re-entry in Earth's atmosphere because he couldn't kill a 12-year-old child. What makes you so certain that you would be able to kill when it comes down to it?" "I killed someone when I was 9 because he almost sold me to become a sex slave," the Ackerman declared as she walked up to him, "and anyone who is a threat to my friends is a threat to me. Human or Titan." "Impressive," Megatron admitted, "but I'm still not bringing you. The dwarf is going to notice you're gone, and while I know I can take him down, I'm not going to say that he won't be able to do some damage to this form." "I actually hate the shorty," the Ackerman stated, "but the form of yours has a limit. What happens when it gives out in battle and someone sees? You got lucky the last time you fought with that cover, but you're going alone. You need someone to cover you in case if the form stops working." Megatron thought it over. The Ackerman did have a point. If his form gives out during battle, the other side will know that there's another Metal Titan on their side. Not to mention the Ackerman was the only human here that tolerated him and was willing to kill humans without any problems. There was also the fact he was given no description of what Lionheart looked like. He could use her as confirmation when he found her. Megatron walked up to the Ackerman and placed the pistol that wasn't damaged in her hand. "I expect full cooperation, and that you are fully ready to defend yourself and kill others. Do you understand me, Ackerman?" The Ackerman looked down at the gun in her hand before looking at him and nodding her head. Armin sat down next to a tree where Levi, Nifa, and the rest of his friends were making plans to move during the night. Armin said that he wasn't feeling well and Levi allowed him to sit out for the time being until he was feeling. The recruit looked the pouch of water in his hand and drank a little more from it before wiping his mouth. He thought back to what happened yesterday as he had more conflicting thoughts go through his mind. What was Megatron's endgame? Why would Megatron stay on a planet with a race he despises? He even saved Jean from dying, only to punch him for his incompetence. But besides that, there was nothing that was keeping the Decepticon here. He had all the freedom in the world. There shouldn't be anything keeping him here. Right? Armin shook his head before standing up and telling Levi he was going to get more water. He made his way towards the small stream, hiding behind a tree and filling the pouch with water. Armin caught something out of the corner of his eye and turned to see Megatron's hollow form with a rifle and shield jump over the stream and make his way into the forest with Mikasa. Armin thought with dread as Mikasa followed Megatron into the forest. She was going to get killed if she followed him. He had to stop her. Megatron looked down at the Ackerman as they continued walking through the forest. So how exactly did you kill the man who almost sold you? The two heard a twig snap behind them and turned their rifles onto the source. Mikasa slightly gasped while Megatron raised an eyebrow as Armin put his hands up. Armin, what are you doing? Mikasa demanded. What am I doing? Armin exclaimed. Did I really not hear you? Megatron questioned before sighing, I'm getting old or I'm losing it. Mikasa, why are you going with him? Armin demanded. She asked. Megatron answered, I'm merely scouting out the area and she wanted to come. Levi's going to notice that she's gone, Armin retorted, you can't just take her with you. Armin, I can defend myself, Mikasa declared as she walked up to him, just go back to Levi, I'll be fine. Mikasa! Armin exclaimed as he put his hands on her shoulders before whispering, he's dangerous, and you can get killed. I can handle myself, Mikasa repeated. She's the only human here that seems to tolerate my existence and is willing to kill humans without hesitation, Megatron added. Armin stared Megatron down as he let Mikasa go. If this is such a simple scouting mission, then why bring Mikasa? You can simply do it yourself, can't you? This form does have limit, Megatron retorted, I need someone to cover for me in case if that happens. I believe Ackerman should be able to take care of that when the situation arises. But what if she gets kidnapped? Armin demanded, what if she gets killed? Unless if she has any hesitation to kill, she should be fine, Megatron answered, now run back to the dwarf. We have work to do. Mikasa looked back at Armin one more time before deciding to follow Megatron into the forest. Armin quickly thought over the information before taking a step and speaking up. You're lying, Armin declared. Megatron stopped in his tracks and glared at Armin. Lying? You don't care for humans, Armin began, you going scouting in human territory to give us some kind of head start seems like nonsense. Meanwhile, you bring another human during your scouting. If you're scouting, why bring weapons? Why bring another human into the crossfire if you're trying to avoid engaging the enemy? That's the whole point of scouting. And what if you're wrong? Megatron asked. Armin felt his hands shake as he took a deep breath. Armin felt something cover his mouth and felt his heart beat faster as he realized it was Megatron who rushed towards him and stopped him. That meant, he was right. This was more than a scouting mission. If you ruin this, I swear. Megatron stopped as he felt a gun placed at the side of his head. The two both glanced over to see Mikasa aiming the pistol Megatron gave her at his head. Armin noticed Mikasa's expression resembling that of a feral beast. Well, Megatron began, it seems I finally got an emotion out of you. Let him go. Mikasa ordered. I don't trust him to not talk to the dwarf about what I'm doing, Megatron declared. Regardless of what he says to Levi, I don't care, Mikasa said, I care more about the fact that you're going to physically hurt Armin. I told you we would be fine as long as you didn't hurt my friends. Armin is my family. If you so much as lay a scratch on him, I will destroy that form to the point that you wouldn't use it for the next week. Mikasa pulled down the hammer-on gun. I won't hesitate to hurt anyone that gets in my way. Megatron merely blinked while Armin looked back and forth between the two. He didn't know how long Mikasa would be able to hold her own against the warlord. If she did try to take him on, he would no doubt kill her. The silence seemed to hang over them for an eternity before Megatron sighed in irritation. You're lucky I tolerate you. Armin grunted as Megatron pushed him to the ground. Mikasa took the pistol away from his head and ran to Armin's side and helped him to his feet. So then, what are you really doing? Armin demanded. Megatron stared at Armin before rolling his eyes and sighing in irritation. Optimus asked me to go find Lionheart. Lionheart? Mikasa questioned. Annie. Armin said, why would he ask you that? The other creature is dying because of the dark energon in his system, Megatron explained, meaning any idea of where these titans come from or why this rice wants Prime's pet will most likely be lost. I speculated Lionheart may have been kidnapped by your government, so Optimus asked me to go look for her by myself. Then why take Mikasa if you were supposed to go by yourself? Armin demanded. I don't know what the girl looks like, Megatron answered. Ackerman is the perfect candidate to go with me because she's actually willing to kill humans, unlike the rest of you cadets. Why doesn't Levi know? Armin demanded. Would you believe me if I told you Optimus didn't want anyone to know? Megatron asked. Why wouldn't he dash? I don't know, Megatron interrupted, clearly irritated. Enough with the questions. This is the first time I can't tell what's going through his head. Does he not want to get humans involved? Is questioning his loyalty? Does he just hate me that much to put me through this hell? I don't know. I'm just here to do a job. So do you intend to tell your dwarf of a captain, or do I have to fight the Ackerman to shut you up? Mikasa gritted her teeth as she aimed the pistol at him once more. She was about to pull the trigger, but Armin put a hand on her shoulder. No, Armin answered, I want to come with you. Armin! Mikasa exclaimed while Megatron laughed. Really? Megatron smirked, I don't think you're exactly fighting material. Would you prefer if I told Levi? Armin retorted. Megatron slightly growled in irritation at the name. No doubt the dwarf would try to stop him. Why do you want to come? What is it that you wish in return? Armin thought it over for a moment. I get to ask you a question. Mikasa looked at Armin in confusion while Megatron raised an eyebrow. Armin, however, saw this as a perfect opportunity. A perfect opportunity to figure out what Megatron's motivation was for helping humanity. A question? Really? Megatron deadpanned. I don't think you can offer me anything else, Armin retorted, but if I don't tell Levi, I get to ask you any question I want. No lies, no deception, just the honest truth. Well then, you better be specific about that question, Megatron declared as he walked up to him, because if you're not, I just might not answer you. There's also the case of this mission's success, or even if you make it out alive. I'll be willing to kill, and I'll make it out alive, Armin declared. Armin, go back to Levi, Mikasa begged. Armin shook his head before staring Megatron down. Is that a deal? Megatron looked Armin in the eyes before sighing in irritation and throwing the rifle on his back into his face. Armin clumsily caught the rifle before looking up at the Khan. Welcome to the mission, Pax, Megatron proclaimed as he turned his back on the two. Try to keep up. Megatron walked off into the forest while Mikasa quickly followed behind with Armin in tow. Hanji and Erwin went over the layout of the capital when Optimus walked in the room with his hollow form intact. Erwin glanced over at the form while Hanji stood up. Hey, Hanji greeted, are you doing okay? I am more relaxed, Hanji, Optimus answered, thank you for asking. Good, Erwin said, we need to cut back to the matters at hand. Hanji sighed. Down to business I see. Erwin, what were you planning from the beginning? Optimus asked. I would have allowed myself to be taken by the government, Erwin explained, and once I did, I would have found a way to expose the government for its twisted way by saying the Colossal Titan and Armored Titan broke through the wall and watch what they do. Pixis and Zachary were in on it as well. How the fuck did you get Zachary of all people? Hanji demanded. He agrees the government is corrupt as well, Erwin remarked before turning to Optimus, but now, we're going to have to improvise because you kidnapped me. There were multiple ways the plan could have gone wrong and ended in your death, Optimus retorted. The Survey Corps would have been labeled as terrorists and you all could have been executed. You don't know if that would have happened, Erwin proclaimed. I've seen it happen, Optimus declared, and I am not going to risk an all-out war with your kind because of your arrogance. Erwin took a deep breath and sighed. Optimus had more experience under him, that was something he couldn't deny, but they were running out of time and he had to think of something. Then what do you suggest? What are we supposed to do? The media, Optimus answered, the media is an outlet everyone trusts. If we can catch the government in the act and get the media to write about it, we might be able to overthrow the government. I do know where to go, Hanji declared. If we leave now, we could reach Walsina where they reside by night. But what about Reeves and Berthold? Erwin asked. Mobility can watch Reeves until we figure something out, Hanji explained. I don't know about Berthold. He might be dead by the end of all of this because we couldn't get the Dark Energon out of his system. Optimus, you said that Energon should be able to counteract it, but exactly how were you able to find that out? Optimus was quiet for a moment. It was back on Earth, the Autobots and I were caught up by an impending crisis. One of our human allies was poisoned by Megatron with Dark Energon, and my medic managed to figure out that Energon would be the best solution to counteract it. Did he tell you how? Hanji asked. I mean, you did tell me liquefying Energon requires certain tools and is a pretty long process. Ratchet didn't use the traditional method, he was running too low on time, Optimus explained. He got the Energon from one of the, Hanji, do you have a syringe by any chance? I think so, Hanji answered. Why? I am going to use my Energon to save Berthold, Optimus declared. Armin was terrified to say the least. The three of them may have been walking for an hour or so, with Armin following behind Mikasa while Megatron was in front of the both of them. Mikasa believed that there should be distance between the two, in case if something happened and she needed to protect Armin. For Armin, it was the first time seeing Mikasa show some form of disdain towards the former warlord. Maybe because he was in the way. Which brought him back to why he originally decided to join the two of them in the first place, to figure out what Megatron was fighting for. It wasn't for humanity, he knew that. Megatron has still shown some kind of aggression towards them and punched Gene after saving his life. But what would he ask? He couldn't say, why are you helping humanity? It was too vague, it was a question Megatron could easily avoid. He could have said he was bored or something. Would it be redemption? Armin shook his head. Megatron seemed to have a lot of pride. He didn't think he'd be seeking for redemption, especially not here. If he wanted to seek redemption, he probably would have gone to his home world to start, not a planet that he's never crossed before. So then why dash? Armin bumped into Mikasa while he was deep in thought. He looked up to see Megatron raising a hand, as if ordering them to stop. Armin was about to ask why, but noticed they were near someone's house with a woman outside tending to her garden on the edge of the fence. So what do we do? Mikasa asked Megatron. Megatron didn't answer as he watched the woman intently. When the woman turned her back on them, Megatron took off his shield and snatched the rifle out of Armin's hands before walking towards her. Wait! Mikasa quickly covered Armin's mouth before hiding the both of them behind a tree. Shit! What in God's name was he doing? The woman continued to tend to her garden, shoveling the dirt to make more room to grow her fruits. She suddenly felt a tap on her shoulder and looked up to see a man with gray hair wearing a brown hat and pants, along with a brown jacket and a rifle on his back. My apologies for troubling you, the man said before noticing her work, seems tedious. It is, the woman declared as she stood up and wiped her hands of the dirt, but it does pay off in the long run. I've been trying to save up on some money, and so far it's been helpful. I see, the gray-haired man said. So what brings you here? The woman asked. Practice actually, the man said. My brother's children want to join the military, but before they do apply I wish to give them some experience of life inside certain areas of the walls. How to hunt, how to scout, what to do in certain situations. You're a good uncle, since you're willing to make them prepared for the dangers of joining the military, the woman said. The world does seem to be getting crazier by the minute. Frankly, I wouldn't agree with the fact that the world has gone mad, he said. I believe it's always been that way. I don't know, the woman shrugged off, so what can I help you with? Armin and Mikasa peeked over from behind the tree to see Megatron in different clothing having a casual conversation with another human being. Not to mention the well-thought-out lies he's been telling her. If Armin was hearing this from her end, he would have most likely believed him. Well, there is a chapel that no one really goes to anymore due to an incident 5 years ago, the woman explained. You could probably stay there for the night. It's pretty north from where we are right now. I don't understand, Megatron began. What incident are you talking about? 5 years ago, bandits pretty much ransacked the place, burned it to the ground, and killed everyone in the Rice family except for Rod Rice, the woman explained. Well, if the place has already been ransacked, I doubt there would be bandits there again, Megatron said. If you want, I can provide you with some food, the woman said. That's appreciated, but this is a training exercise for the children, Megatron explained. If they wish to survive in dire circumstances, they must learn how to survive on even the smallest of meals. Well then, I wish the best for you three, the woman said. And thank you for taking your time to help me, Megatron said as he slightly bowed. Armin and Mikasa noticed Megatron beckoning them to come to him. Mikasa quickly covered the shield with her cloak before going towards the Khan. Armin waved a quiet hello to the woman while Mikasa continued to walk forward when Megatron made his way up north. Optimus! Hanji called out as Optimus stood in his bipedal mode with his right hand transformed into his blade. Are you sure about this? This is the only way that we can keep Berthold alive, Optimus declared. Shouldn't we kill him? Hanji demanded. He's a threat to humanity. But also the only one who has an idea about the secrets of the Titans, Optimus said. I can use this to bargain with him to figure out those secrets. Make sure to have the syringe ready. Hanji nodded her head as she adjusted her gloves and grabbed the syringe. Optimus then gripped the blade with his left hand and made a small cut on his skin. He removed the blade and transformed it back into his servo. He kneeled down and showed Hanji the wound slowly leaking energon. Hanji quickly used the syringe and filled it up with the contents. What are you going to ask him? Hanji questioned as Optimus wiped the energon leaking to slow the process. I'm not entirely sure, Optimus admitted. I do have an idea of what to ask him, however, I need to make sure that it is clear and concise, or else Berthold may simply avoid the question. Berthold stared up at the ceiling of his cell, trying to drown out the thoughts of death and suicide from his mind which seemed to be amplified by whatever was in his body. He adjusted his form on the bed and looked at his infected arm. If only he could get out of this cell, then maybe, he could say goodbye to them all one more time. Berthold Hoover, a familiar voice spoke. Berthold turned his head to see Optimus sitting down in front of his cell with his arms crossed and something in his hand that he couldn't make out. Berthold sighed as he sat up from the bed. I already told you that I won't say anything, and you interrogating me and torturing me isn't going to make much of a difference. But I know what will, Optimus declared. Berthold felt an unsettling feeling rise in his stomach as Optimus moved the holoform's hand to reveal a syringe of blue energon. Are you going to poison me, you bastard? Berthold demanded as he backed away. Quite the opposite, Optimus answered. What you have in your systems is dark energon, a deadly force of nature for both Autobots and Decepticons alike. The only reason you have it in your systems is because of the Flying Titan firing at you when he arrived. Berthold grimaced at the thought of that monster. Having dark energon in your systems for this long should have killed you, Optimus continued, but your regenerative power is keeping the dark substance from doing so. It is only a matter of time, however, before the dark energon completely shuts down your body. The only thing that can neutralize it is my life force. The very substance that you see in my hand will be the only thing that will save you from death. I do not know for how long, given your condition, but I do know the energon will neutralize the dark energon and stop it from killing you. Berthold felt a swell of hope and desperation rise in him as he bolted to the metal bars and tried to grab the syringe, but Optimus merely extended his hand back to prevent the teen from reaching it. Give it to me? Berthold demanded. Not yet, Optimus said, I am here to bargain with you. If you do not answer 3 of my questions, then you will not get this. 2, Berthold declared, I'm not answering 3. Optimus tightened his grip on the syringe. I am not the one running out of time. Berthold gripped the bars in fear, afraid that Optimus would break the syringe and the energon would be gone. Fine, I'll answer 3. Optimus loosened his grip on the syringe and slightly relaxed. My first question, how is Zeke able to control the Titans? Berthold stiffened. You don't even know who Zeke is. You mentioned that I harmed Zeke and Reiner, Optimus explained, and the only other Titan shifter that I've encountered is the Beast Titan, so I could only surmise that the two are one and the same. So how is Zeke able to control the Titans? To be honest, No one knows, Berthold admitted. He's always considered gifted, even called a miracle child. Everyone tried figuring it out, but no one knows. Optimus didn't say anything as he took the information in. One question was unfortunately wasted, and he had to make sure the other two provided some sort of help. My second question, how many more Titan shifters are there? Optimus asked. Berthold immediately grew quiet. Optimus merely tightened his grip on the syringe, and Berthold could have sworn he heard a crack. There are 9. Berthold shouted, there are 9 Titan shifters and Eren might have the powers of 2. So there are 8 instead, Optimus muttered to himself. My final question, how does a human become a Titan shifter? Berthold didn't say anything once more before looking up at Optimus. You don't want to know that. I am fully aware that humans can become Titans, Optimus explained. That doesn't explain how a human becomes a Titan shifter. And you don't want to know the second part, Berthold proclaimed. Why is that? Optimus asked. It's not exactly pleasant, Berthold proclaimed. Answer the question, Optimus ordered, now. Berthold took a deep breath and looked Optimus in the eyes. In order for a human to become a Titan shifter, they must become a Titan and eat another Titan shifter. Hanji rested her head on the table while Erwin tapped his fingers. Hanji jolted awake and Erwin snapped out of his thoughts when Optimus opened the door with a look of fear on his face. We need to go to Sina, now. Optimus declared. What about Berthold? Erwin asked as Hanji rubbed her eyes. I asked Mobility to watch him and Reeves' son for the time being, Optimus explained. I administrated the energon in his systems and it seems to have reversed the effects of the dark energon for the time being. But we need to go now. What's going on? Hanji asked as she stood up. I'll explain on the way, meet me in my alt form outside, Optimus merely answered as he deactivated the hollow form. Berthold sighed in relief as the marks on his arm were mostly gone. His finger still didn't grow back and there were some marks on his hand, but the energon did work. Berthold looked up at the ceiling of his cell as he heard a strange noise fade away. Now that the hand was better, he could try to find a way to escape. Armin gripped the rifle that Megatron returned to him from earlier as they continued north towards the chapel. Meanwhile, Megatron had changed the holoform's clothing back to the original design and had his shield on his back. The cadet thought hard about what the woman said. It was odd that around the same time Wall Maria fell, the royal family except for Rod Reiss was slaughtered. The question was why? Armin looked at Megatron as he continued to march on. He had a feeling he thought something was off as well. Can one of you tell me the importance of the history girl? Megatron spoke, causing Armin to stiffen. What do you mean? Armin slightly stuttered. I have an idea of why Reiss would want Prime's pet, but I know nothing of the girl, Megatron explained. Why did the girl go into the military instead of living an extravagant lifestyle, especially since she's royalty? Apparently she's the daughter of a mistress, Mikasa answered. She did live in Wall Sina, but when Wall Maria fell her mother was killed by the military police. She was going to be killed too, but her father made her take another name and join the military. So she's a bastard, Megatron concluded. That's a little harsh, Mikasa admitted. A child born from 2 humans not married to each other, Megatron said. That's the definition of a bastard, and she fits right into that category. That doesn't explain why her creator suddenly wants to come back into her life, or why he came for her when that creature first attacked when he lost his other family. That is strange, Armin agreed. Why would Rod suddenly come after her now? So then do you think bandits attacked the chapel? Mikasa asked. I believe not, Megatron admitted. The bandit story might have been an easy cover-up, but I believe someone who was aware of the secrets of the walls came after them. I don't know if there's anyone else here that knows about the Titans, Mikasa said. What about Ak? Megatron exclaimed in surprise as he jolted and covered his right ear. What the dash? Armin exclaimed. Are you all right? Mikasa asked. Stop shouting in my receptors. Megatron yelled. Prime, you're talking too fast. You want me to what? Armin and Mikasa stared in confusion as Megatron began ranting in his own language. The two looked at each other wondering if they should stop him, but both silently agreed against it. Mikasa then caught something out of the corner of her eye and pulled Armin behind a set of bushes. The two looked over and saw the back of a chapel. "I think we found it," Armin declared. Armin and Mikasa turned to see Megatron a little calmer, but he still had an irritated look on his face. He stared at the two before saying something and taking his hand off the holoform's ear. "What's going on?" Mikasa demanded. "Don't worry about it. I'll explain later," Megatron answered as he looked at the chapel. "We'll investigate this for now." Megatron walked through the bushes, causing Armin and Mikasa to follow him. The ex-con found an open window on the side and pushed it before jumping inside. Mikasa followed after him, but stopped to help Armin hop through the window. "It looks small," Armin commented. "Looks are deceiving," Megatron proclaimed. "We should search the perimeter to find any secret passages." The three split off and began to search the small chapel. Megatron checked the furnace placed at the front while Armin and Mikasa checked under the pews. Armin walked over to another set of pews, but stopped when the rug in the middle of the chapel got caught in his shoes. Armin was about to remove it, but stopped when he noticed a corner of a hatch in the ground. "I found something," Armin said as he removed the rug to reveal the small hatch. Megatron and Mikasa walked over to the hatch and kneeled down. The former warlord opened it, revealing a stairway that led downward. Megatron pulled out the pistol he had and turned his attention to the two. "Stay close to me and proceed with caution." The two nodded their head before following Megatron down the stairs. They noticed a few torches light as they made their way down until they were all in front of a door. Megatron placed the holoform's ear on said door, listening to any possible sounds on the other side. When he determined no one was on the other side, he opened the door. Armin and Mikasa looked in awe at the sight before them. It was an enormous cave with multiple strong and steady pillars. The floor looked as smooth as marble, and the entire area seemed to be a glowing, silver-like color. "It's beautiful," Armin spoke. "This isn't natural," Megatron proclaimed. "What do you mean?" Mikasa asked. "Underground caves don't have this good of a structure," Megatron explained, "and whatever this stuff is clearly not normal minerals. At least for your world. Ackerman, your rifle." Mikasa handed Megatron her rifle before slamming the butt plate of it into the wall, causing shards to fall on the ground. Megatron picked one of them up and examined it closely. "A Cybertronian might even mistake this for Energon," Megatron added. "How do you know that?" Armin asked. Megatron glanced at Armin as he handed the rifle back to Mikasa. "I wasn't always a gladiator." Armin looked in confusion as Megatron picked up the other shards. Megatron wasn't always a gladiator? So then, what was he before? Many lower-class citizens were forced into manual labor. They were practically slaves to masters down there, and many have died due to horrific working conditions and abuse, Optimus answered. Megatron must have been one of the manual laborers, Armin realized. That would explain Megatron's disdain of their government. "We don't have time to investigate the entire area," Megatron proclaimed. "It's too large, and I doubt they'd keep Lionheart in here. It doesn't look like there are enough hiding spaces." "So where would we look now?" Mikasa asked. "The only thing we can do for now is leave the building and continue searching the area," Megatron proclaimed. "Let's move." Marlow and Hitch grunted as Levi threw the two of them to the ground. The two groaned before gasping as Jean and Connie aimed their guns at them. Levi searched through their belongings before finding their badges and a notebook before going over the information. Private Marlow Sand and Hitch Dryas, assigned to the military police in the Stohes district. "You two are recruits, you don't have much access to more sensitive information, but you two do know the basics at the very least." "Captain Levi, in the flesh?" Marlow thought. "Sir," Nifa began, "we can take their clothing and pose as them, possibly find out where their hideouts are." "Good, we should get moving then," Levi declared before turning to the two cadets, "and as for you two Captain!" Sasha exclaimed as she ran over to him, "Mikasa and Armin are not here." "Where are they?" Levi demanded. "I don't know," Sasha answered, "but the shield is gone." Levi could have sworn that he heard something inside of him snap as he tore the badges that he was holding. "That bastard!" "Captain!" Nifa spoke. That buckethead thought he could blackmail me and go off on his own while taking Armin and Mikasa. Levi realized. He was going to kill him. Congratulations, brats, Levi sneered at Marlowe and Hitch, you two get to live, and you're going to help us navigate through here and find some hideouts or I slice off your head. Megatron continued going through the forest, mindful of any possible trap that might be in the area. He then looked behind him and noticed that the Ackerman and the boy were lagging behind a little. He stopped in his tracks before looking at the sky. It appeared the night was coming once more on this world. We're taking a break, Megatron told the two, causing them to look at him with bewilderment. But shouldn't we keep moving? The Ackerman questioned. I can keep moving until this form reaches its limit, Megatron corrected, but I do notice that the both of you are tired. That was something I should have taken into consideration. Why would you care about that? The boy asked. Because if you're dead, my head ends up on a stick, Megatron answered as he sat down on a log with his back facing them. We'll move when it's dark. Megatron heard rustling behind him and assumed that the two sat down. He then went over what Optimus told him before the three went into the chapel. Apparently his pet was going to be eaten. That would explain why Titans would eat humans, but that doesn't explain why the man wants him instead of that Lionheart girl. What he would kill to see that brat in a broken state. The brat angers him more than that female human under the Autobots' care that killed one of his top insect icons. His thoughts then went back to the day he first arrived, when the boy punched a Titan causing all of the other ones to devour it. The Titans were mindless beasts, yet they devour a Titan when Prime's pet punches it. Megatron widened his eyes in realization before sighing in irritation. That's why he's so valuable, he can control other Titans. Megatron glanced back at the two humans with him. They were sitting next to each other, whispering something he couldn't quite hear. He then looked down at the ground and at the holoform's hands. What was he doing? What was wrong with him? If someone ever told him before he called off the war that he would work with his sworn enemy in a bunch of humans, he would have punched them in the face before killing them. Brutally. Yet here he was now. Was he going mad? Megatron pinched the bridges of the holoform's nose and groaned quietly. He didn't know why he was still questioning this. He knew the exact reason of why he was here. At least the Ackerman was tolerable and the boy was cooperative. But the boy reminded him of. Megatron sighed. Any longer on this world and he may truly go mad. Megatron, the Ackerman began, what were you yelling about earlier? Megatron stared at the Ackerman before turning away. Nothing you need to concern yourself with. This is something we should be concerned about, the boy said. I'm not the one who volunteered to go on a solo mission, Megatron retorted. I only brought Ackerman along because she's the only one who tolerates my existence and know what Lionheart looks like. No one bothered to give me a description on her. But we are here, and we deserve to know, the boy declared. Megatron rolled his eyes before facing the two completely. Apparently, the History Girl's father wants to eat Prime's pet in order to gain his power. Megatron waited for the two to respond, but didn't hear anything. So he looked up and noticed the Ackerman walking towards him with rage in her eyes. We need to go after him, she declared as she stood in front of him. Megatron merely stared at her, clearly not amused. No. No. The Ackerman exclaimed, humanity's last hope is going to be killed and you don't want to save him. Like the brat was ever your world's last hope, Megatron deadpanned, and besides my mission to find Lionheart still stands. It's also too dangerous for me to grab him at this time. He's most likely heavily guarded and I can't reveal my true form. Not to mention the fact that you're still labeled as criminals. And while we wait here, Eren may be devoured. The Ackerman shouted. Mikasa, stop. The boy pleaded. Someone's awfully passionate, Megatron remarked, a little more passionate than when I threatened your family. Mikasa, the boy hissed, as he grabbed her shoulder and pulled her back. Either way, I'm not going after him, Megatron declared. Megatron noticed the Ackerman grinding her teeth. Fine, then I'm going alone. Mikasa, stop. The boy pleaded as the Ackerman walked away from the two of them and grabbed her rifle. You're letting your emotions get the better of you, Megatron remarked. The fact that you won't do anything to save him is what's frustrating. The Ackerman exclaimed. Look, I get that you have romantic feelings for the brat, but going head first into blind territory with nothing but a rifle is a little bit foolish, Megatron proclaimed. The Ackerman stopped in her tracks and looked at Megatron. How did you dash? Just because I became heartless doesn't mean I'm ignorant about romance, Megatron explained. Ackerman, you're letting your emotions for the boy cloud your judgment. That's going to lead you to become careless. And careless opponents are dead ones. I still have to go find him before it's too late, Mikasa declared. Ackerman, Megatron began as he stood up, think this through, you're only a child facing an army. How many can you take down by yourself before you are killed? You have no plan, no backup, and you're choosing to go in blind all for the sake of love. I can't go through it again, the Ackerman muttered as her grip tightened on the rifle, I can't lose them again. Mikasa, the boy quietly said. Megatron gave an unreadable expression as he thought of his former tick. He sighed as he walked towards her and put a hand on her shoulder. Ackerman, Megatron began, Mikasa, look at me. Mikasa glanced at the hand on her shoulder before turning her gaze to him. If the boy cares enough for you, I don't think he would want you to rush into danger, Megatron said, but you need to put these childish thoughts and emotions to rest while on the battlefield. Don't act like a child or it will get you killed. You need to act like a soldier. Do you understand me? Mikasa turned her gaze away from him before nodding her head. If we do find him, I will try to retrieve him. If not, we will have to regroup with the rest of your comrades. Do you understand? Megatron said. Mikasa nodded her head, allowing Megatron to let go of her shoulder. He looked up at the sky and noticed it was a darker shade of blue. We need to move, Megatron declared, before turning his attention to the boy, who was clearly looking at him in shock. Do you have any romantic feelings for Prime's pet that I should know about? Megatron demanded. And no, the boy stuttered, we're just friends. Good, I don't want to deal with a lover's quarrel right now, Megatron said, mainly to himself. Hold on, stop right now. Hanji exclaimed as she slammed her hands on Optimus' dashboard in the passenger seat, Rice is going to eat Eren. Berthold said that the transfer to becoming a Titan shifter requires a human becoming a Titan and eating a Titan shifter already in existence, Optimus explained through the radio. That might explain why Titans always eat humans, Erwin added in the driver's seat, it doesn't explain why there are only 8 in existence. I wish I knew as well, Optimus admitted. Fucking hell, we just handed Eren right over to them. Hanji realized before gripping her hair, can you drive any faster? I do have to be careful and make sure no one spots us, Optimus reminded. We just need to get to the media source you mentioned earlier, Erwin told Hanji, from there we can figure something out. We need to figure this out quickly before Eren is devoured, Optimus declared. Hanji looked through the side view mirror to see the sun setting. We better do it quick. Who knows when Eren's going to be eaten? Can you two see? Megatron asked as they made their way through the forest in the dark. Yes, Mikasa responded while Armin was still in shock about what happened earlier. What the fucking hell was that? Megatron suddenly concerned for a human's well-being. Even addressing Mikasa by her first name. He doesn't even call anyone by their names. Was that another deception or was it pure honesty? What is the real Megatron? Megatron wasn't a gladiator or a revolutionary or a warlord anymore. He was skilled with deception, so he could easily put up a front with anyone. How would he be able to tell if he was lying? The only other person that would be able to read him was Optimus. You want to kill me, then go ahead, Megatron said as he stretched his arms out, leaving his chest wide open, you'd be doing many others a favor. Optimus growled, I do not know who to trust anymore, so if you wish to prove to me that you are an ally, then drop your sword. Now. Megatron gave Optimus an unreadable expression before letting the sword slip out of his grasp and fall to the ground. Optimus asked me to go find Lionheart. Like Optimus is going to let me leave this planet, Megatron replied, and I already told, I'm not into conquest and oppression anymore. I don't know, Megatron interrupted, clearly irritated, enough with the questions. This is the first time I can't tell what's going through his head. Does he not want to get humans involved? Is questioning his loyalty? Does he just hate me that much to put me through this hell? If you ruin this, I swear dash. Armin felt his heart stop as the pieces came together. Megatron wasn't helping humanity out of redemption or a good deed. He was helping humanity because he was trying to make things right with Optimus. Get down, Megatron ordered as he kneeled down behind a bush. Mikasa and Armin followed suit as they heard the sounds of horses. They watched the horse riders make their way towards a 3-story house guarded by the military police. We need to get inside, Megatron declared. It's heavily guarded, Armin retorted. How would we get in? I'm not sure, Megatron admitted. We may have to kill some of them and hide their bodies in order to get inside. There are too many guards here, so they must be holding something valuable. Possibly Lionheart. If we kill one, then it might alert the others, Mikasa retorted. Then you two will stay here, Megatron declared as he stood up and placed his shield on his left arm. Before Megatron could make a move, Armin quickly grabbed his right arm. Armin! Mikasa hissed. You can't! Armin exclaimed. Megatron raised an eyebrow in confusion. What do you mean I can't? I know it's not difficult for you, but what if you make a mistake? Armin questioned. What if someone is able to damage this form? Listen, Pax, I'm under direct orders to make sure you and your friend doesn't end up dead, Megatron retorted. But charging into battle like this? Armin questioned. Didn't you say earlier that this was careless? For her, Megatron countered as he gestured to Mikasa, if I get shot in the back, I don't die. I'm not in any immediate danger. But we are. Once the military police realize that there's another Metal Titan here, Armin retorted as he looked Megatron dead in the eye. Megatron, you can't rush into battle like that. Armin could have sworn he felt Megatron stiffen in his grip. The cadet noticed a surge of brief emotions passing through Megatron's face, most of which he couldn't make out. Megatron then gave Armin an irritated look before pulling his arm away. Fine, Megatron sneered, what do you propose? Armin grew a little hesitant. He didn't expect the Decepticon to listen. Megatron growled. Well. Sorry, Armin apologized, I remember doing experiments with Hanji about a Titan's ability. A Titan shifter can't transform in cramped spaces due to the possibility of the body not completely forming. Annie would most likely be in a basement area to prevent an transformation in her escape. So we head underground once more, Megatron concluded. It looks like there are some pillars on the building we can hide behind before we find a way inside, Mikasa pointed out. Megatron noticed the guards in the front of the building were chatting with one another. Megatron beckoned Mikasa and Armin to follow him as they made their way across the field into the side of the house. Megatron and Mikasa jumped over the gate before Mikasa helped Armin over. The three of them then ran and each hid behind one pillar, waiting to see if any guards would come around the corner. Armin then noticed a window on the ground and pointed to it. There. Megatron saw the window and rushed over to it, trying to pry it open. Mikasa then heard some chatter coming around the corner. Someone's coming, Mikasa warned. Don't rush me, Megatron ordered before managing to pry the window open. Mikasa quickly jumped inside while Armin climbed in after her. Megatron jumped in and closed the window as the two guards made their way around the side. Okay, we're inside. Do we check every room in the area? Megatron asked. The three stopped when they heard someone whimpering down the hall. There's someone here, Mikasa realized. Check every room, Megatron ordered. The three ran down the hall and checked every room on the basement floor. Megatron then noticed a knight's armor in one of the rooms, holding a sword. Megatron quickly grabbed it and put it in his sheath before running out the room. Armin reached the end of the hall and opened the door to the last room, leading to even more sets of stairs and a door at the bottom. I found another room, Armin whispered. Megatron and Mikasa ran towards Armin's position and saw the door at the bottom of the stairs. Megatron took the lead and walked down the stairs while Mikasa and Armin followed. When Megatron reached the door, he noticed that there was a lock pad on it. Megatron ripped the lock pad off the door and opened the door. It would seem we found our target, Megatron declared. Mikasa and Armin looked over Megatron's shoulder and widened their eyes in horror. What they saw was a whimpering Annie in a light blue shirt and ripped brown pants, with her arm fully regenerated. Check the description for the links to the author.